Embervale, a once beautiful world that has been corrupted by the shroud. Now powerful enemies haunt the land, but I am flameborn, destined to rid the world of the corruption, except I only have 100 days to do it. I have been sponsored by Keen Games to complete 100% of Enshrouded. Every elixir well, every quest, every boss, and if I am not able to do it, I will have a forfeit that I learn on day 50, as that is when the newest update arrives. New, stronger enemies, more dangerous locations, and even more stuff to do. Will I be able to achieve 100% in only 100 days, or will I be lost to the shroud forever? So with 100 days to go, the door of my cinder vessel slides open, awakening me from my slumber. So this is how the challenge starts. Making my way through the door, I approached a pedestal in the center of the room, and interacting with the fire pit, I communed with the flame. You've slumbered for too long, flameborn. The realm of Endervale has fallen, consumed by the shroud. Now the enduring flame calls for you. Find a place in the ruined world and construct a flame altar to create shelter from the dark. After interacting with the flame, I made my way out into the world only to get completely blinded by the sun. The sun! I haven't seen it for 10,000 years. Let's go! And traveling down the path, I collected my first page of lore on the flame and its murmurs. The first of over 250 different lore pages you need to truly achieve 100%. So this may be a harder challenge than I first expected. Looking around the area, I spotted where I needed to go, but it seemed too far to just jump down. So looking around, there was a cave entrance not too far away. Rushing over, I found a torch just sitting there. Nice! A torch. At least I'll be able to see my death before it comes. Inside the cave, I used my torch as a hammer and broke through a boarded up hole in the wall. And behind the boards lay a chest, and inside the chest, another torch. Yeah, I could always do with an extra torch. See twice as good in the dark. I came across a skeleton with a note attached to it, and of course I read it. Who wouldn't read a mysterious note left on a corpse? So testing out what this shroud was, I took a step into the fog and noticing my enshrouded timer had begun ticking down. So I quickly exited and returned to exploring this cave. Further along into the cave, I came across my first enemy, one of the fell, who I called a zombie. So using my torch as a weapon, I attacked and killed the zombie. And after looting the zombie's corpse, I equipped my first actual weapon, a rusty sword. Leveling up to level 2, I unlocked my first achievement of this challenge, doing something right. Level up to level 2, 1 down, 44 to go. As I was forced to go into the shroud, I wanted to see what these bulging plant-like things did, and as they exploded, they did minimal damage. However, they greatly increased the speed my enshrouded timer decreased. So making my way through the shroud, I found the exit to the cave as I activated my first return beacon. These are kinda like respawn points, where the most recent one will always be where you'll revive. As I began exploring the ruins outside the cave, I got attacked by none other than a rat. So starving, I killed it and looted the body, gaining myself some animal hide and raw meat. And after dealing with the rats, I got attacked by the actual pests. More zombies. During the fight, my rusty sword broke, forcing me to swap to my torch in order to kill off these flesh-eating monsters. Reaching the area I was supposed to, I began looking for a spot to claim as my base spot. Decided I wanted a cliff base. Collected resources around the area, crafted my flame altar as I unlocked another achievement, a place to call home. Woohoo! Another one down. Placing down the flame altar near the cliff, I officially claimed this area as my base. So I did what anyone else would do, build my base. Now, I took a moment to look into what this flame altar was.
You are not alone. There are other survivors drowsing in nearby ancient things. Find them so they may aid in your journey. Go gently, one beckons nearby, just outside of the shroud's grasp.
Listening to what the flame had to say, apparently there are more survivors stashed in those cinder vessels around the map, and I was to go find and rescue them. Seems like something I should do. Interacting again with the flame altar, I checked to see what it all could assist with, and I could increase my base footprint, increase the strength of my flame. I'm not quite sure what they do just yet, as well as I could unlock skills. So deciding I was to abandon my previous ways of the stealth archer, I instead decided to put both of my skills into constitution, choosing my path as a warrior. Cool, another achievement unlocked. Erudite, unlock your first skill. Once finished with the flame altar for now, I began gathering materials in order to craft some basic tools. What was that dismantle? Oh, I just took down a whole tree. After collecting some wood, plant fiber, and stone, I crafted myself a pickaxe, an axe, and a construction hammer, unlocking yet another achievement. Thus, it begins. Now, it may seem like these achievements are coming in rather quick, but trust me, they are going to get progressively harder throughout this challenge. Using my newly crafted axe, I began deforesting the area around my base, gathering wood logs to use to craft my actual base structure. Crafting some string out of the plant fibers, I crafted myself some ragged clothing and a wooden shield. Gotta protect oneself from the elements, you know. And then fending off some wolves, I knew the hardest achievement I'll have to get is to reach level 35. So I needed to take whatever opportunities I could to kill things for the experience. It's going to be a grind, but I'm determined to defeat this challenge. Returning to my flame altar, I crafted myself a workbench. And inside the workbench, I crafted a campfire. Placing it down so I can cook some meat to fill my stomach. And eating that mushroom gave me a magic damage bonus. Makes sense. Always knew people who would hark to do magic. Continuing to farm the trees for more wood, I ended up running into more zombies. So like any other rational flameborn, I decided to deal with them, looting the chest they're guarding as I collected my prize, a crackling wand. I returned with my spoils and began crafting casa de natural. Placing my workbench within the walls of my base as I crafted myself a fireplace for which I can cook indoors and a crude mattress, and then laying my head on the mattress as I slept through the night. There is a lot still to come. But what I'm most excited to show you is all the new stuff releasing on day 50 of this video. I'll get to fight new enemies, use gems in my weapons to make them even stronger, uncover new locations, a massive increase to what you can do at night like night sanctums, and experience probably the best lighting update I have ever seen in the game. I'll be trying to cover everything, but this game is massive, and one I do highly recommend you play for yourself. Even if this video was sponsored, I just had an absolute blast, and I already clocked even more hours into it after everything I recorded for this video. So if you want to download and play it for yourself, use the link in my description. Now, let's go help clear the world of the Shroud. And waking up with the sunrise on the start of day 3, I took a look at my journal. Reading over my current quest objectives, I spotted a marker on my map. So I began my journey for the day, heading into the Shroud as a few things were on my docket. Find the blacksmith and locate and harvest Shroud wood so I could craft myself a glider. As I made my way into the entrance of the Shroud near my base, there was a dead body with a note. Stay on the path, lest the Shrouds can take you. Salvation lies straight ahead. Fairly ominous, so I made sure as I entered the Shroud to follow the note's advice and stick to the path. That is, until the zombies noticed me and attacked, which I quickly dispatched. I also found an hourglass capsule, and interacting with it replenished my Enshrouded timer. Those might be useful to keep note of later on. And finding an exit from the Shroud, I took the opportunity to take a break from the poisonous fog, finding and reading a letter from someone named Cade Hawthorne. With the letter read, I made my way to Braylon Bridge, completely ignoring the first bandit I came across. As I began making my way up and over the bridge, taking out the bandits that claimed it as theirs. Once the bandits were taken care of, I began searching the bridge as I was attempting to make the jump across the bridge's gap. I'm trying to jump, you stupid game. Let me jump. Sometimes you want to jump and the game's like, nah, you gotta climb. And then eventually reaching the ancient vault, I spotted some enemies. And sneaking through the camp, hiding in bushes, I ambushed the zombies guarding the vault. And retreating back as 3 of the zombies swarmed me. A few swings of my sword and they fell dead. Looting the corpses, I returned to the vault to take out the final zombie before entering. And once inside, I crafted myself a few bandages before taking on the zombies within. After the battle with the zombies, I searched and found a note from Baltazar. And then once I was done reading the letter, I went to the only intact cinder vessel and awakened Oswald Anders, the blacksmith. I also found a secret chest, so of course I looted it and grabbed a new weapon inside, some shivs. Now that I'd awakened the blacksmith, I fast traveled home, and so it appeared at my flame altar, I went to bed. And the sound of the rooster crowing woke me up. So it was time to get the blacksmith in my base. I crafted a summoning staff and used it to spawn Oswald. Speaking to Oswald, he asked me to do a few things for him, like craft him a bed. So I checked what he could craft me, and before I headed out and collected the resources needed. With my inventory getting messy, I decided to craft a couple small chests. Yay for inventory management. And once my inventory was cleared, I assigned the only mattress I had to Oswald, allowing him a place to lay his head. Leaving him at base, I went out to collect more resources in order to craft a forge, and somewhere along the way of mining rocks for stone, I unlocked another achievement. The Leave a Mark achievement by mining terrain. Accidental win, but I'll take it. As I was out, I got targeted by a small wolf pack. With my newly crafted scrappy sword, they were no match. And as I was out collecting resources, I crafted a charcoal kiln before harvesting more wood. Got targeted by a hive of bees that didn't like the fact that I was destroying their forest, but too bad for them. And then finding a spot of shroud, I entered it, killing off the zombies and looting the chest. Collected another lore page before returning to base, where I placed down the charcoal kiln, filled it with dirt and wood to craft some charcoal, and then using some of the wood I gathered, I put up a roof of my base before crafting and placing my forge. With all the resources I had gathered, I crafted up a grappling hook, unlocked another achievement, shortcut. With that done, I began smelting up some metal sheets, eventually ending the day waiting for the sheets to finish smelting. As I was waiting for the sheets to smelt, I went out to hunt some animals for their hide, eventually coming across even more zombies, killing them off before continuing my hunt as I killed off a small pack of wolves. I then got attacked by a larger pack. I guess I found a wolf den. Sweet! More resources for me! Another patch of the shroud meant more zombie kills, and another chest for where I collected some blunted knives. Better than the shivs, but not the weapons I was looking for. I returned to base, cleared my inventory before I crafted the Rising Fighter helmet and boots. I then enhanced my rusty sword while waiting for the sheets to finish smelting, and then using some of them I was able to craft the Rising Fighter chest piece. I went out to collect some plant fiber as I needed it to craft string for the missing pieces of the armor set. Returning to Oswald once I had the string, I crafted my pants, I placed down a door, as well as placed some torches to light my base before crafting the final piece of the set, cooking the raw meat I gathered from the wolves before heading out, and then on my way out I collected some fireflies before being attacked by more wolves. Killing them off, I used my grappling hook for the first time, zooming off the ground and up to the bridge. And after reaching the top of the bridge, I looked around at the shroud, getting my bearings as I jumped over the gap before running down into it, where I began killing off the zombies that were in my way. I collected another hourglass vessel to reset my Enshrouded timer. Eventually reaching the elixir well, I began clearing out the zombies as one by one they fell to my scrappy sword. And then entering the well, I activated the return beacon before I continued exploring. Inside the well, I came across a few zombies, taking them out as I continued to search for the actual entrance. And then exploring the depths of the well per the mission I was on, I searched for the source of the shroud in this region, as in a giant enemy stood before me. A fell thunderbrute, not your normal zombie. A massive being with stronger attacks and lightning? This was gonna be a test. Dodging and weaving the heavy attacks from the brute, I rushed in, dealing chip damage before I had to move away again or risk being smashed to bits. Trading blows with the behemoth, I broke off quickly to use the bandages I needed to heal up before dodging his attacks once again. And after a formidable battle, I finally managed to defeat the fell thunderbrute, unlocking the Thundering Success achievement. After celebrating my victory, I noticed a really weird red plant that required my attention, and chopping it down with my axe, I unlocked yet another achievement. Well done. Taking out the shroud route cleared the shroud from the well, allowing me unfettered access without having to worry about my Enshrouded timer. I began searching the area for loot, however it seemed like the well was dried up of any loot to be collected. And then as I exited the well depths, I cleared the top of the zombies guarding the exit, reaching level 4 and gaining another skill point. Nice! With the zombie threat taken care of, I began harvesting resources, looking for shroud wood. Chopping a tree, I collected some shroud liquid, unlocking the Mole of the Springland achievement. Collect every valuable material on the Springlands. Sweet! Another one in the books! And then continuing my resource hunt, I began chopping down some rather large trees, which in fact gave me the shroud wood I was looking for. Returning to base after a quick harvest, I quickly interacted with the flame altar, gaining my next quest and upgrading it to level 2, increasing my base area. With the shroud wood I'd collected, I was able to craft myself a glider, unlocking the freefall achievement. Craft or obtain a glider. See now, with my glider, I can glide, whee! I checked my inventory, noticing I got a new weapon. I decided to equip it, just to check it out. I got a mace. That's a lot better. When did I get this? Oh, but it's too... Heading out once again, I began scavenging for metal scraps. I needed to craft a new pickaxe and felling axe with the help of Oswald. So breaking down some forgotten barrels and wooden crates, I checked to see how many scraps I've collected, and with what I assumed would be enough, I headed back to base, crafting myself the set of scrappy pickaxe and felling axe as the day came to an end. I made my way back over to Braylon Bridge in the morning, using my grappling hook to cross the gap as I began taking out the bandits that had taken the bridge over. Looting the bodies after taking out the final enemy, I headed out to the ancient spire. Reaching the gate, a warning was shown. The road is blocked, a grappling hook is required to cross. How convenient. Using my grappling hook, I easily overcame the obstacle in my way, and landing on the other side, I saw a weird thing. And stepping into the landmine's radius, it exploded, alerting the bandits nearby. Guess it was time to test my new mace as I began taking them out. I continued looting them, eventually finding a forest longbow within a chest. A bow. I'm not playing an archer. And then continuing onward, I found yet another lore page after searching the body next to it. As then I pushed forward, making my way to the base of the spire. I began searching for a way up, and then heading inside, I activated the magical portal, unlocking another achievement. Springland Stargazer. Reach an ancient spire in the Springlands. 12 down, 33 to go. Using the magic portal, it teleported me up into the spire, and I then began exploring, pressing a button to open the first door. Found a chest containing a magic wand, useful if I was a mage, but I'm a warrior. I eventually found the second portal and used it to teleport up. Teleporting higher into the spire, as I was traversing the puzzling room, I attempted to jump and grab onto the ladders and instead fell onto the burning ground below. If you didn't know, fire is hot, but I quickly escaped the burning coals before continuing to search for the buttons inside this room. Having to shoot a button with the bow I collected, I continued on, and then the button I shot actually unlocked a door that held a chest. A new melee weapon, a level 3 hatchet. It wasn't as good as my mace, but at least it wasn't another bow. Found the teleporter, using it to travel higher up into the spire, and this room was covered in spike traps. But I expertly timed the spikes and made my way across them. Parkouring over the lava pit, I found the buttons to unlock the door forward, and then looting some better shivs as I made my way to the final teleporter. Unlocking the fast travel beacon at the top of the spire. Communing with the flame atop the spire.
These ancient spires open fast travel to reveal ancient knowledge of Embervale and your fourth child.
With my new knowledge and fast travel point completed, I began searching for any sort of loot. Eventually finding nothing, I was slightly disappointed, so I decided to check my lore pages. I need to see if I can find all those pages as well in order to get 100%. This may be harder than I thought. Deciding to continue on my journey, I leapt from the top of the spire, gliding down towards the ground and my next quest marker. I came across a village, Rookmore. Are y'all friendly in here? Clearly not. I began taking out the bandits that called Rookmore home, taking them all down, the men and the women and the children too. As I was clearing them all out, I got stuck on a ladder, unable to climb up as the archer was cheesing me. So I decided to move around, waiting for the archer to move positions, eventually climbing back up and taking them out. I found some red barrels buried in a mound of earth nearby, and I took out my bow and shot them, destroying the wall blocking my path. Finding a small house up the path, I used a lockpick to make my way inside, eventually finding a replacement lockpick inside. That's renewable resources right there. Nothing else was lootable inside the house, but I did collect a lore page before exiting, continuing to make my way to my next waypoint. I don't want to avoid the shroud if I can help it for the moment. But let's go down this dark, ominous tunnel. Chasm. Ravine. Attempting to avoid dealing with the shroud and the zombies within, I began parkouring and gliding along the edge of the cliff above the shroud, eventually uncovering a new location, Woodguard. As I did so, I leveled up to level 5, unlocking the On the Way achievement. Activating the return beacon inside of Woodguard, I began clearing out the skeletal guards inside one of the buildings. Continuing my journey onwards, I looked back. Let's keep this place in mind. I think I'd like to potentially build there. And then before making my way to another little township, Peaceful Acres, where I activated another return beacon. Oh, that's a big spider. Bye, spider. Be gone. So much for being a peaceful acre. Searching for a path up the mount, I stumbled across a cave with the skeletal enemies. Whoops, had to destroy them. And then finally finding the correct path, I headed up the mountain, eventually reaching the entrance to the flame sanctum at the top. I quickly took care of the bats before heading inside, and then activating the return beacon, I noticed another clue. Dropping some trash out of my inventory, I collected the spark from the flame altar inside the sanctum before teleporting back home. Checking to see what resources were needed to strengthen my flame, I needed some penny bun mushrooms. So off I went, searching for these mushrooms like a trained pig looking for truffles, but eventually collecting some honey and wax from a fallen beehive. A tip suggested to shoot them down with a bow from a distance. Why does this game want me to be an archer? Finding no mushrooms near my base, I returned home and crafted a small chest to clear my inventory before bedding down and ending the day. Starting off the day, I dove into the shroud, gliding to safety in search of these blasted mushrooms. Clearing up the zombies I landed near, I stepped out of the shroud before heading to the elixir well. Arriving at the top of the well, I activated the return beacon before heading back home, still searching for these mushrooms. Eventually finally finding a single mushroom outside an abandoned war camp, I returned to base, clearing my inventory of all the resources I had collected. Noticed I'd picked up a ring along the way. I equipped it before checking what all was missing to strengthen my flame, and it was a single penny bun mushroom. I soon found it right outside. So picking it, I returned to base, collected the resources from my chest, and strengthened my flame. Flame level 2. Nice. Listening to what the flame had to say, the spark of knowledge is erupted within. Ready yourself to unveil the secrets of your past. Find the 2 ancient obelisks of the Springlands to learn the world's fate. A story of rot and fire. Only those who seek them. With that knowledge, I placed a mark on my map for the location of the next ancient vault, and it looks like the hunter was next on my list to awaken. So I headed out, gliding towards a different colored section of the shroud, and then exploring I came across a new type of enemy. What are you guys? You're a monkey. You're a monkey with a sword. And I eventually reached the ancient vault of the hunter. I had to clear out the area. They're Ewoks. That's what they are. And then fighting off the Ewoks, these guys were tough. But using a combination of melee attacks, I was finally able to take out the last mage before I entered the vault. And then navigating the puzzles within, I managed to awaken Athalan Scree, the hunter. Such a strong name for a hunter. But I continued to explore the vault, finding a chest with another staff. Dang wizards. I don't want any wizard weapons. And reaching the top of the vault, I slipped through a hole in the floor to my death. Not like this. My first death? Due to fall damage? What is this? Respawning, I re-entered the vault, and then struggling to grapple to unlock the button, I finally managed to do so, giving me access to open the chest locked behind the gate. This better have been worth it. I collected a legendary ornate bow from the chest. With disappointment in my mind from the vault, I returned home, crafting another summoning staff as I summoned Athalan Scree. Giving her a mattress and assigning the to her, I ended the day laying down and taking a much needed rest. As my mace was my main weapon, I decided to enhance it to make it a bit stronger, increasing its damage by 4 points. It ain't much, but it's honest work. Heading out after adding some cutting damage to my mace as well, I fast traveled to the ancient spire, using it as a launching platform to glide in the direction of the alchemist vault. As I landed, I began searching the nearby area called Harvest Homestead, another potential base location, killing off the local wolf population as I entered Woodguard. Finding a chest, I looted it. Again, damn archer book. And finding nothing but archer stuff, I continued onwards. Heading towards the alchemist vault has arrived at the base of a hill. Location above. Oh, great. I need to find a way to get higher. Finding a cave, I dispatched the scavengers and wolves inside. I could actually feel the increase of the damage of my mace doing now. I let loose my inner loot goblin as I found a locked treasure chest. Please don't let this be another archer or mage weapon. So crafting the lockpick, I opened the chest and what did I find? The legendary Wailing Blade! Comparing the stats of this new weapon to my mace. finds a legendary weapon, and it's worse than my scrappy sword. Makes me want to cry. So with that disappointing find, I continued to loot the cave, finding nothing worth mentioning, before exiting and killing off the small group of zombies before heading up the mountain. Sneakily, I slipped past the entrance to the scavenger's camp before beginning to clear them out, only to get a stupid archer blocking me from climbing on his platform from the ladder. So I waited for him to move, killing him once I had enough room to climb up the platform. Using my parkour skills, I cleared the gaps in a derelict bridge, looting a chest and obtaining an explosive powder ball. Gets a legendary sword. Turns out it to be a glorified torch. But I arrived at the ancient vault for the alchemist, and I entered and began searching around. Aha! Secret chest. Secret tunnel! Oh, that's a lot of bad guys. Hi guys, do you want to come at me one at a time? And drawing the enemies into the hallway, I killed the first before the rest followed. Guess it didn't want a fair fight. But it didn't matter as they all fell to my mighty mace smash. Killing off the last remaining archer, I started looting, finding some dried fur as I unlocked the small backpack recipe. That might be useful. Killing off the remaining scavenger guards, I made my way to the cinder vessel that contained the alchemist. Trapped behind it, however, was an unfortunate scavenger, so putting him out of his misery, I then awakened Balthazar, the alchemist. Since I'm here, I might as well go to the salt mine location. Setting my waypoint, I ventured off, gliding towards the salt mines. I landed near a small scavenger camp, and killing off the occupants, I looted the chest, leaving the bow it gave me there. It's a bow, of course it's a bow. Why wouldn't I want a bow? Only legendary melee weapons I get is a weaker than a torch. Ah, there's a hole there. Climbing out of the random hole I fell into, I continued towards the salt mines, reaching it shortly after my tumble, killing the bugs and zombies that called the mines home, and I left completing the quest given to me by the hunter. Traveling home, I talked to the hunter, crafting string in order to have the hunter craft me a drying rack. Talking to Oswald, I learned that he in fact forged the legendary whaling blade that I collected while I was out. Cool. If only it was a little bit stronger, that'd be great. Using the drying rack, I shoved some fur and salt, queued up some dried fur while I went out to collect some plant fibers. Using these resources, I crafted myself a small backpack, increasing my inventory size. That's amazing. Taking a moment, I applied the skill points I earned by leveling up. Just buff up strength, I guess. Okay, so I'm kind of doing like barbarian tank. And reading through what storage I could craft, I decided to craft some small magic chests. Reading that the resources held could be used from any crafting station. I may not be a wizard, but damn, their magic is helpful sometimes. Crafting up a couple, I placed them down and dropped any crafting resources I collected inside of them. All the stuff I know can't be used in crafting. Managing my base storage is always just so tedious, but the earlier I get it done, the easier it is later on. And after finishing managing my base's storage, I crafted a summoning staff and used it to summon the alchemist, Balthazar. A miracle, I join the living once more. I am Balthazar, an alchemist. I craft potions and other fare. Talking to Balthazar, I made him craft me a grinding stone. I could be a wizard. You're a wizard, Harry. And placing down the grinding stone, I queued up some bone meal before placing down a mattress for Balthazar to claim as his own. Talking to Oswald, I enhanced my mace, adding some piercing damage. And checking what quests I had queued, I selected the one with the best looking reward. So heading off, I left my ragtag crew to look after the base, and finding a tower on my travels, a skeleton laid across a bench near a campfire. I lit the campfire, just so that he would be nice and warm, before grappling up and checking out the area. Oh, there's a lot of doggies. Come here, doggies. I encountered another wolf pack, and that just means more meat and animal fur for me. And skirting around the edge of the shroud, I spotted a flame shrine. Jumping down and gliding to it, collecting a spark from within, and these are useful to upgrade my flame altar back at base. Continuing to skirt the edge of the shroud, I came up to the edge of a scavenger encampment. And making my presence known, I drew out a few of the scavengers just as they reached the gate. Their mine exploded. Easy kills! Nice! Entering the camp, I found an anvil. Oh, cool. I can repair my equipment here. I wonder why. I wonder if there's like an upcoming boss fight or something. And after repairing my gear, I searched the area, finding a tunnel to dip into. I healed up before confronting the boss. Spotted a single arch left alive. No use having another source of damage coming my way. So I skillfully grappled up to its platform and buried my mace in its skull. And then with all the minions defeated, I went to confront the scavenger gorgon matron. And rushing it, I began the attack, dodging out of the way of its poison flask, and we danced for a few moments before I got hit. Being poisoned, I attempted to retreat, but died shortly after. Respawning, I made my way back to the scavenger hill, and using the explosive balls I had to deal some kind of damage before rushing into the fight. Searching the camp, I frantically was hoping there was something around to counteract the poison, but I came up empty. Getting attacked and nearly killed by a pack of wolves, I barely managed to take them out. Taking a moment to sit next to the brazier under the gorger, I thought about how I could defeat it while getting my resting bonus. With my resting bonus high, I went back in for round 2. Using a pillar to keep some distance between me and the gorger, I used a hit and run tactic avoiding the poison. That is, till I got hit. Oh, I'm poisoned. I die now, because I'm poisoned. I got poisoned once, and I'm just dead. No! How do I stop the poison? After respawning, I needed to go have a chat with Balthazar. So I teleported back to base, checking Balthazar's crafting inventory to see if he had any sort of poison resistance. Nothing. What good is an alchemist if he can't help you withstand some poison? So checking with Oswald, maybe he had some armor with poison resistance. Nope, but he did have a spectral ward that gave me 10% poison resistance. Better than nothing, and needing only 2 metal sheets, I had them smelting, and crafting the spectral ward. I swear I got baited, because it's a wizard's shield! Equipping it, so I dropped the resources into the magic chest, clearing my inventory before crafting a new staff I planned on using solely for heals. And stopping by my fireplace, I cooked up all the wolf meat I had gathered. I might be using a mace, but you know what? Just call me a paladin. You know what? I'll be a paladin. I have a heal channel. Because it's needed! I'm playing this solo. What do you want from me? I will definitely need to use each of the stars occasionally if I was to beat this challenge, as I've only got like 86 days left to go to finish 100%ing the entire game. Checking my flame altar, seeing what I needed to level up the flame, I took note of what resources I needed. I have to kill her anyway to level up my thingy-majiggy. I need more wax and salt. So thinking of what to do with all the weapons I've gathered that would go unused, I noticed I could actually salvage them, gaining runes by doing so. So I used them to max out my mace and enhance the wailing blade. Okay, that actually leveled up quite a lot. Why is that a thing? Why does my sword do more blunt damage than my mace? I traveled back to the ancient spire, using it to jump off and glide back towards the scavenger hill. Landing next to a flame shrine, I made sure to collect the sparks and continue to head towards the scavenger place. Avoiding entering the shroud, I made my way into the scavenger encampment, having to clear the scavengers again as I began doing just that. But being a little too greedy, I died to an archer's exploding arrows. Whoops. So respawning at the spire, I sat by the brazier to regen my stamina and gain my rested buff before making the trip again. This time around, I took my time and cleared the camp of scavengers. Preparing my gear, I focused on actually taking out the enemies ahead. Looting a glowing chest, I acquired an alchemist's ring. Equipping it, applying skill points, I unlocked the hammer time skill, boosting my blunt damage by 20%. Fairly useful since my legendary sword did more blunt damage than my mace. So throwing out the exploding jars I had, I started fighting the gorger. As I was stuck in a hole, I began my hit and run tactic, retreating to wait out the poison time and heal as I jumped back into the fight. After a few more rounds of hitting and dodging back, I landed the killing blow. Yes! Yes! Die, you fat bastard! After celebrating my victory, I started to loot the area, collecting the drops from the bodies gaining the scavenger matron gorgon helmet and some blunt knives. Being attacked by a single scavenger, I killed him with a merciless attack, and then making sure to clear out the rest of the camp, finding a little loot but not too much, before deciding to head back home. Scavenging around my base, I collected some wax and honey from the nearby beehives, but knowing I needed salt and seeing that the farmer was in that direction, I decided to stop by the salt mines on my way to awaken the farmer. And as I reached the Egerton salt mines, I started clearing out the critters that began swarming me. Venturing deeper into the mines and it being overrun with zombies, I knew I had to clear them before I could attempt to collect any salt.
I mean, really, if the game wanted me to get salt, they could have just let me play some League of Legends.
And once I cleared the mines of hostiles, I began mining the salt of the walls, collecting what I assumed to be enough for now. As I continued exploring the mine, coming across a critter nest. Clearing out even more zombies, thinking I found an hourglass capsule to reset my Enshrouded timer. Instead, it was a lore page. And stumbling across a few grappling points, I used them to make my escape from the shroud, exiting the mine. Once I was finally out, I marked where the farmer's vault was, getting my bearings as I headed out, finding an old wooden watchtower, and climbing up, using it as a vantage point as I spotted a shroud route off in the distance. So marking on my map where the shroud route was, I teleported back to the spire. Heading on a more direct path to the farmer, gliding down from the spire, I came across a village named Ferndale. Abandoned town? No, the rats owned this place. And as I cleared the area of the infestation, I collected the animal fur and lean meat before moving on. Arriving at the vault, I began searching for the cinder vessel containing the farmer, and then checking to see if the inner chamber door was locked. Indeed it was. I figured it wouldn't be that easy, but it never hurts to try. So I began searching for the button to unlock the vault door as I unlocked another achievement. Things come together by reaching level 10. Coming across some lightning traps, I tested to see if my magical shield blocked the damage, and shockingly it did not. So after an electrifying round of Frogger, I pushed the button that unlocked the inner chamber.
Gaining a return beacon midway through makes me nervous. I see why.
Peeking over the edge of the large gap in the floor, lava pools below. Made sense why there was a return beacon, but little did anyone know I was in fact Spider-Man. And using my grappling hook, I swung from the ceiling, easily clearing the large gap, pushing the second button before looting the nearby chest. And looking around the floor, I couldn't seem to find where to go. Did I miss a door or something? Eventually I spotted it, the path I forgot to take, and of course there was in fact a door that I missed. Opening the door, I easily avoided the spike traps to find and push the third button. I looted another star from the chest, searching for any loot I could find. Jumping off the second floor balcony, I glided into the inner chamber and awoke Emily Frey, the farmer. Before searching for any loot, and there was no loot inside the inner chamber, so I exited the vault, setting a waypoint for the nearby flame sanctum. Began making my way over, following the path. Eventually made it to the sanctum. I collected the sparks from the flame before teleporting back home. Talking with all the survivors, I collected all of their different quests, and then with Oswald's help, I maxed out my Wailing Blades enhancements before crafting and using the summoning staff to bring in Emily Frey. I assigned her an empty mattress, just so that she'd have somewhere to sleep, and then talking to Emily, I accepted her quest before crafting a farm animal pillow, some farm soil, and a seed bed. Finally, I could be the farmer I always dreamed to be. Probably not. Placing down the seed bed, I queued up some shrub seedlings to grow by throwing some plant fibers in, and looking at what was next up, marked the location of the carpenter's vault on my map. Heading outside to see it would take me, I decided against waking him just yet, as he was towards the red misty area. I didn't feel like I was ready for that. Instead, I decided to take out some of the elixir wells. Needing more shroud liquid, I headed into the shroud to collect it near base, as I used it to craft some more magic chests, sorted my inventory, and then strengthened my flame to level 3. What exactly that did, I didn't know, but I'll figure it out eventually. Ending the day, I planted some shrubs outside my front door, and then starting off the day, I planted some penny bun mushrooms into my seed bed. These, I'd found out, were used in crafting health potions. So traveling to the ancient spire, I once again used it as a gliding point, heading towards the first elixir well. And diving into the shroud, I reached the well, clearing out the zombies as I fought my way into the depth. Focusing on the shroud route, once the zombies and critters were dealt with, I chopped it down, freeing this area of the shroud's fog, leveling up as I did so. I then proceeded to clear the area of any sort of bug or zombie spawner, and kicking open a chest, I found a legendary malicious mace. Finally, an upgrade! Continuing to clear the well of enemies, I fought my way to the exit, but as I reached it, I proceeded to head towards where I had seen the shroud route when looking for the farmer. But as I was heading into it, I wasn't paying attention and fell straight into a lava pool. Oops. Quickly respawning at the spire, I glided towards the shroud route I marked and continued making my way towards it. This time avoiding the lava death pit, and arriving at the shroud route, I cleared the zombies before chopping it down. Nice! No route means no shroud. So checking where the next well was, I marked it on my map before looting the corpses and traveling to the spire. Gliding down once again, I landed in the shroud and made my way to the elixir well. But at the top of this well, there was a return beacon. Usually that doesn't bode very well for me. So resting for a moment, regaining my stamina and rested buff, I then entered it and searching for the shroud route, decided to try to destroy it first and then deal with the zombies. However, as I reached the route, there was a surprise waiting for me. Another fell thunder brute. Fighting the thunder brute through the night, I finally managed to kill it as the rooster crowed. Clearing out some of the bug nests, I then focused my attention on the route and chopping it down before fighting my way out. But as I was running towards the exit, a massive swarm of critters was chasing me. And what better way to deal with them than by using the explosive powder balls I had gathered. And as I exited the well, I began making my way north, following the request of the hunter, as along the way I revealed a new location, Westcott. I decided to explore it for a bit, finding some scavengers that I took out, finding an anvil to repair my gear, looting another shepherd's staff from a chest after clearing out Westcott of scavengers. And then as I collected another lore page, a new location was marked on my map once more. So continuing onwards towards the quest location, I found an abandoned hunter's camp with a chest that glowed, and inside was a tainted axe. Continuing to move forward, I stumbled across a location called the Withered Encampment. So taking a moment to rest and using this time to apply my skill points, I moved on, only to get attacked by a pack of wild boars. Harvesting some raw game and animal pelts, and I made my way forward. I entered Willow Crush, this time stepping in a bear trap as a welcoming present. And then as I was exploring Willow Crush, I noticed that these enemies were a lot stronger than I was expecting, as I died as they quickly overwhelmed me. I respawned and made my way back to Willow Crush, and this time skirting around avoiding the enemies, I ran through the forest, collecting resources and unlocking recipes as I went. And I found myself on one side of a shrouded ravine, and so I spotted the ancient tower across the way. I jumped and glided over the shroud, landing barely inside. I ran out finding a mutated mushroom. Fighting it, it dealt poison damage, which I tried to avoid as best as I could. And killing it, I waited for the poisonous cloud to disappear before looting the remains, gaining some poison sacks and penny buns. The poison sacks unlocked a new recipe, antidote. That may be coming in handy later on. Running up the hill, I noticed a new resource, copper. This could be really useful. So after mining a bit of the copper, I salvaged some weapons, clearing my inventory before continuing on towards the spire. Finding a cave dug into the mountain, killing the boar inhabitants, and then luminous growths were growing at the entrance, so I picked a few, unsure of what they could be used for. And fighting some zombies, they're even dropping me some good loot. Eventually reaching level 12 after killing another horde of zombies, I finally made my way up to the Revelwood Ancient Spire, unlocking the Revelwood Stargazer achievement. So entering the spire, I ran past a return beacon, activating it before exploring, and finding nothing at the entrance, I used a magical portal to climb the spire. Seeing that the store needed a button to unlock it, I began searching. Avoiding the lightning and fireball traps, I found and pressed the first button. Going through the second door, I followed a fireball to find and press the second button, and making my way to the portal, I was transported to the next floor. The door here requiring 4 buttons to be unlocked. So I began searching, finding the first relatively easily. However, it needed me to shoot the target with my bow. Great. Stealth Archer activated. Finally, again, always. Why can't I just use my axe the whole time? But you know, it's fine. Quickly, I found the second button, looting a wizard hat from the chest nearby. I chose to put it on. What do you want from me? I'm mocking the wizards here, but I'll wear their hat. Dropping down from the ledge, I found and shot the third button as there was only one left. And after running around, I noticed the button's eventually able to shoot it and unlock to open the next door. I made my way to the portal, transporting up to the next floor. And this is where I decided to log out for the day. But then after I logged back in, I loaded in as it spawned me back at home. I didn't know you'll always wake up at home when logging in. Talking to Emily, checking up on her quest, I headed back out to resume completing the Revelwood's ancient spire. But then mid-glide I checked my inventory, realizing it was full, so I doubled back and returned to base. After upgrading my new tainted axe, I wanted to test how it handled, and I'm taking a few test swings, accidentally destroying Athalon's mattress. Realizing my mistake, I quickly replaced it, hoping she didn't notice. Noted, don't test new weapons indoors. And crafting a spiritual cane to assist with healing, I headed back to the spire, gliding from the Springland one. I resumed my journey over to the Revelwoods, collecting more sparks from a flame shrine. I even discovered the Lumen Light Cave on my journey. And reaching the base of the mountain that the shrine was on, I mined my way up with my pickaxe. Being able to destroy the terrain is really useful. And making my way through the flame sanctum, I collected the sparks from the flame before clearing out the critters. And eventually arriving at the spire, I quickly ran through, completing each floor's puzzle now for the second time, eventually returning to where I'd logged off at the end of day 20. And as the night turned today, I completed the third floor of the Revelwood Spire, and arriving at the top, I communed with the flame as I unlocked the Revelwood Spire as a fast travel point. Checking my map, I noticed a cave nearby, and wanting to check it out, I set off, gliding over the shroud as I made my way to the entrance. Destroying the spiderwebs that blocked the entrance, I began exploring. I even found an abandoned hunter's camp. I had to deal with the spiders that called this cave home, and killing them off, I began looting, picking up string and poison sacks. Finding the hunter's hand spindle, as this should come in handy, I completed the hunter's quest. And not finished exploring for the day, I teleported back to the Springland Spire, tracking another quest, making my way to an obelisk as I looted a skeleton, gaining a better pair of boots. Interacting with the obelisk, I completed yet another quest. So I was back to the spire as I followed my quest point to a flint mine. As leveling up to level 13, I began tracking the vault for the carpenter. On my way to the vault, I collected more sparks from another flame shrine, and coming across the southern caravan camp, I quickly looted it, and then continuing on to the vault, I angered some Ewoks by getting close to their den. So taking them out, I looted their den before arriving at the vault, and clearing out the vault. The critters were easy to take out, however a new type of enemy, the wraiths, weren't so easy. Getting killed because they were hovering out of reach as I respawned at the nearby return beacon. Returning to the vault, I rushed my way through, bypassing the flame sanctum as I was on a mission. As mining through the destroyed rubble, I found the vault's entrance, killing off the wraith, guarding the cinder vessel as I awakened Cade Hawthorne, the carpenter. Deciding wasting time to kill the second wraith wasn't worth it, I left. And following the path, I found the Low Meadow Spire. Getting transported inside, I began completing the puzzles, finding some weapons in the chest that I'd be destroying for runes as I made my way up to the top. And finding an epic executioner's axe on the third floor, I completed the puzzle. Using the portal, I made my way to the top of the spire and communing with the flame, unlocking the Low Meadow Spire fast travel after communing with it. The flame instructed me to clear the shroud, as if that hasn't what I'd already been doing, and that would return the meadows to the beauty it once held. Sure thing, magical talking flame, I'll get right on that. Teleporting home, I communed with my flame altar, now collecting all the flameborn survivors. It instructed me to go find souls, untouched by the elixir or shroud. Upgrading the flame to level 3, increasing the size my base could be, I checked what new recipes I had locked. Deciding between what armor sets I wanted to craft, I compared the stats between adventurer and tank. Speaking with all the survivors, accepting their quest, I summoned in Cade Hawthorne, assigning him to his empty mattress, and don't worry, soon you'll all have your own rooms. And now that Cade had been summoned, I had him craft me a kiln in which I started baking up some fired bricks with the clay that I had. I then applied my skill points, upgrading into warrior tree before planting some penny button seedlings and harvesting the shrubs for plant fiber. Ending the day, I constructed a little forge room, moving the blacksmith inside. Using the hand spindle for the first time, I started crafting some of the linen before heading out to the Revelwood Spire. Following my waypoint to collect the crucible for the blacksmith, uncovering a new location, Diadwin. I ran through, coming across an abandoned carpentry camp, and digging near the camp I uncovered the buried treasure, completing the quest and gaining some Baroness daggers as a consolation prize. With the quest completed, I continued exploring, testing out these daggers on some poison shooting plants, and they weren't as strong as my other weapons, but they attacked pretty quickly. Taking on a pack of boars, they almost killed me until I climbed up a half-destroyed building. Stupid pigs, can't reach me up here. So healing up for a bit, I jumped back down to take the boars out before exploring some more. Coming across the Mark of Sameth, I began clearing out the scavengers that were around as a new enemy appeared. This scavenger, stronger than the ones I was used to, pushed me to my limits, and killing off the strongest scavenger, I took his weapon after killing him. These guys were tough. Another one nearly killing me forced me to use my heal channels just to survive. Eventually finding an anvil to repair my gear. I have a feeling I'm about to fight Sameth. I continued searching. I eventually found a rubble pile as I mined through it and collected the crucible hiding on the other side. Taking some time, I began mining copper, reaching level 15, as I unlocked the Getting a Feel for It achievement before applying more skill points into my warrior tree. After a bit of copper mining, I checked how much copper I'd gathered. How much copper do I have? 20. I'm sure that's enough to make a copper pickaxe. Hopefully. Who knows? We'll see. And leaving the area, unsure who Sameth actually was, but I never ended up fighting him. And I headed out finding another new area, Grind Teeth Grotto nearby. I began exploring it as I cleared out the zombie and critter horde. I destroyed the shroud root here, clearing the surrounding area of the fog. And then returning home, I checked what I needed to craft the smeltery. So after clearing my inventory, I headed back to the Revwoods, collecting some clay and harvesting some trees. As I explored, I charted a new location, reaching the quest location, Passage to the Black Mire. Finding another shroud root, I took out the horde of enemies before chopping it down. Even mining some amber from the walls of this area as I unlocked the Mole of the Revwoods achievement. And then looting a shepherd's lightning from the nearby chest, I returned to exploring. What is that? And as I explored, I came across a weird plant laying on the floor. It didn't take any damage, so I stepped on it, and doing so launched me into the air. Confused, I missed landing back on it, dying to fall damage. Whoops. After respawning, I teleported home, where I used the clay to smelt up some fired bricks, and then leaving it to cook, I went to gather some wood. Once I returned with the wood, I crafted the adventurer helmet and gloves, before heading out to Braylin Bridge. Searching around the bridge, I attempted to find the carpenter's hidden chest. Destroying so much rubble, I broke my pickaxe without finding it as I returned home, crafting and placing the smeltery upon my revival. And then after repairing my pickaxe, I decided to search the bottom of the pillar this time, as a carpenter said he left his signature in the middle pillar. Returning to the bridge, I began digging, finding the chest rather quickly this time, and gaining myself an executioner's axe, I completed the quest. And then exiting the shroud, I set my sights on collecting the trader. I want to go see what trader has, because maybe that's something for me. So teleporting to the low meadow spire, I began making my way to where the carpenter stated she frequented. Reaching the caravan, I collected the soul before returning home, collecting the copper bars I had smelting, as I made myself a copper pickaxe. Go get more copper, finish up this copper armor. So I was back to the copper mines I went. Once reaching the Mark of Sameth, I spent the rest of the day mining copper. Mining until my pickaxe absolutely broke. I think I collected enough, for now anyway. I left the mine to go harvest some wood logs, finding the Blue Goblet Tavern. But as I searched it, I found a music sheet collectible inside. After looting the tavern, I returned home to begin smelting the copper. Spending the rest of the day at base as I planted some flax in the seedbed before going out to collect even more wood. Unlocking the mason and lumberjack skills, I crafted myself a copper axe this time. Planting the flax seedling outside before moving the kiln into the forge room. Starting the day, I decided I really want to do some easy quests to clear out my roster, as I was getting quite full. Eventually settling on a quest that was nearby, explore the hollow halls. I figured since it was close, it would be nice and quick. So heading to the quest marker, I stopped by a camp, seeing some explosive barrels. I decided to see what would happen if I shot them. Of course, they exploded, but in the debris I unearthed a chest. So salvaging the wand inside for runes, I continued my way to the hollow halls, stumbling over the scavenger's camp with mineshaft location as I cleared it out before breaking through the rubble wall, completing the plain pranks quest by collecting the hunter's bow. Made my way onwards, clearing bats from a flame sanctum, only to realize that I've already been here before. Embervale being so big, it's easy to forget where you've already been. Traveling further, I finally reached the entrance to the hollow halls. And crossing through the entrance, I stilled myself, exploring the halls. As I cleared the first floor with relative ease, I looted the corpses before continuing through the portal. And remember when I said this should be nice and quick? Yeah, doesn't appear to be the case. Exploring the second area, I cleared the enemies before jumping through floating ruins to unlock the barrier, allowing me to continue on into the depths of the hall. And crossing through the barrier, I began fighting the hordes of the hollows. Once I defeated the final hollow dog, I noticed a strange tablet. Reading it before looting the corpses as I continued moving forwards. Yes, return beacon. And conveniently placed repair anvil, let's go. Traveling through the portal, there were more enemies I had to face. Some even had those special runes that unlocked the barrier. And after fighting for what seemed like ages, I finally managed to kill the final ruined hollow, unblocking the barrier. Okay, wait, let's go make use of the conveniently placed repair station quick. And repairing my gear before continuing on, I explored until I found a hole in the ground. Well, that ain't ominous at all. So jumping down the hall, I landed halfway, rolling my ankle. Great, just what I needed. Enter the next area at half health. So making my way through the area, I fought any hollow that stood in my path, eventually coming to an open area. Oh, that's a lot. Hello, guys. I had a battle on my hands as I fought with all my might. And one after another, the hollows fell. And once I killed the last remaining one, I was free to search for the runes to unblock the next barrier. Jumping over the gap in the bridge, I collected the first two, and the remaining ones took some time to find, but I eventually collected them and unlocked the barrier. Passing through, I repaired my gear again before going through the gate to see what lay ahead. Looks like a horde of traps. Noticing the spike traps on the floor, I jumped over them as I crossed. So all I can think is you put traps to keep people out, so clearly this must be where the treasure is. That's what I want. I want the treasure. And then fighting off the hollows on the other side, I checked the chest and inside was some sort of hammer. I didn't get a good look, however, as a hollow attacked me before I could collect it. Dealing with the hollow quickly, I cleared a spot in my inventory to collect the mandible crusher. Sweet! A new melee weapon! But instead of continuing on through the hall, I decided to check the other direction in case I missed any loot. So opening a door, I revealed myself to a group of hollows again. Yep, killed them too, before looting a new staff. Swapping my shepherd staff with the sinister crescent one, I made my way to the next area. Return beacon with conveniently placed anvils? Yes. So pushing through the doors, I crossed the bridge to find a locked door. Locked. Well, that's convenient. Does make my choice easier. This way! Charge! I probably should have run, saved my stamina in case I have to fight immediately. Crossing the bridge, I got jumped by some hollows, and clearing them out, I moved forward, dealing with the second group. I'm scared of these guys with the scythes, they look scary. And taking the second group out, I climbed the stairs only to be faced with a massive horde of hollows. Oh my god! And fighting through this group, I narrowly survived the battle with a sliver of health. So quickly repairing my gear, I moved through the hall, finding another new melee weapon inside of a glowing chest, the legendary Bone Scourge Mace. Now this is what I'm talking about. Testing the mace on the straggler, I continued to loot the area. Building blocks. I ain't no builder. So leaving the hollowed hall blocks inside the chest, I made my way back to the hall to see that the massive horde respawned. Attempting to retreat after taking massive damage, fighting it as I died. after dying multiple times, I was ready to give up. Realizing that if I left, I'd have to go through this all over again, I decided to push through it. All I can say is so much for a nice, quick, easy quest. I fought the horde for one last time as I utilized my block and dodges to the max as I finally killed the final hollow to unlock the barrier. One last scythe hollow and I had cleared out the horde. So passing through the barrier, I cleared out the hollows, not without almost dying again, but I did it! Awakened survivor. Eldon Crowley the collector. Awakening the survivor and looting the room, I picked up a new bow before using the portal, hoping I was finished with this damn place. So I ran through the halls until I saw the exit. I'm done. With sweet light. I could see the sun. So much for an easy and quick quest. Returning home, I summoned May in the trader, accepting her quest too. As to be honest, I kind of forgot I got her, but it's okay. She's here now. After assigning her to a bed, I then summoned Crowley and did the same for him. Interacting with Crowley, I crafted a Revelwood's bone key just in case I would need it. And maxing out my new mace at Oswald, I decided to go do an actual easy quest. Teleporting to the Springland Spire as I made my way to the quest marker. Arriving shortly after gliding off the spire, I began exploring, collecting some bone blocks from the chest as I completed the quest. See, now that's the type of quest I plan to be doing. Quick and easy just to get it off my bucket list. And with that quest finished, I decided to do another one. Tracking the quest, bring back the pure soul as I headed off. Stopping at a tower, I noticed that a shroud root I'd previously destroyed had regrown. That sucks, but I was going to go and chop it down again. So using my pickaxe, I began mining myself a staircase to climb the mountain. Eventually arriving at Fenrig's farm shortly after as I explored it. Clearing the enemies, I found and entered the wolf cave as inside I collected a new soul. Fenrig Mills Jr. Before killing off all the wolves and looting a rusty sword for my troubles. And then returning home, I spoke with Cade Hawthorne, the carpenter, accepting his new quest before summoning in Fenrig. Replenishing my flax seedling crafting in the seedbed, I planted what seedlings I had before running out to gather some water from the nearby well. Refilling. Oh, that's annoying. And then after gathering some water, I checked my quest log again. Build another flame altar. That is an easy quest. So tracking the quest, I teleported to the Revelwood Spire. So exploring the bit, I found a new area, lush pasture. Clearing out the aggressive plants, I found some farmer pants, taking out more flowers that are attacking me. And deciding this was as good a place as any, I placed down my flame altar, claiming the lush pasture as my second base. Collecting the rest of the farmer gear set after killing off the remaining flowers. As I was running from some archer, I died somehow. Unsure of what killed me, I respawned and teleported back home. And then talking to the farmer, I crafted some cat and dog baits before tracking another easy quest for the alchemist. Returning to my lush pasture base, I began heading towards the quest marker. Oh wow, that's a big tower. That's an elixir well. Okay, makes sense. Do I seriously have to go into the shroud if I want to go do this cat quest? Apparently. So making my way into the shroud, I killed off a weird blue ball. Shroud sack. Oh, that's how I can get shroud sacks. Okay, I need that to craft like a lot of things. So I gotta keep an eye out for those boars. So entering the lone thistle, a massive horde of zombies was waiting for me, but they were no match. Killing them quite quickly as I continued on to the alchemist tower. Clearing it of the rats that infested it. I don't want to accidentally kill the cat when I'm killing the rats, so. And tossing out some bait, I began the taming process. Tossed the bait in front of it, had to sneak up on it and pet it in order to tame it. Who's a good kitty? Oh, you're a cute kitty. Who's a good kitty? Yes, you are. And taming up the cat, I picked it up and looted the rest of the room, gaining another new melee weapon from the chest, a flail. And at the top of the alchemist tower, I collected the prayer of the flame scroll before gliding to a nearby flame shrine. Using the scroll to make room, I collected the sparks out of the shrine. I wonder, can I lead the boars into the shroud to get more shroud sacks? And testing my theory out, it didn't appear that I could transform normal boars into their shroud versions. So instead, I ran into some shroud boars and began killing them. May as well equip these. Give me the extra space. And killing some shroud boars and collecting the shroud sacks from them, I returned home, where I crafted the cat a bed and a food bowl. I am gonna name you... Actually, you look a little similar to my real life cat. You look very similar to Marcy. But no, I am going to name you Strudel. Strudel the cat. Everyone in the comments type down "we love Strudel the cat." And putting away the farmer gear, I talked to Fenrig to accept his quest. So with the new pet, we need to celebrate. I crafted up some fireworks and set them off before crafting up the adventure chest and pants. I started day 37 by crafting the advanced glider. Testing it out with a quick jump, this was definitely an improvement. And then checking my skills, I really wanted to unlock the grounding hook. Being able to snatch flying enemies from midair would help me a lot. Oh my god, you guys are like swarming me. What do you want? So many people living in such a tiny house. One day, I'll maybe make them their own homes. Not today. And so, teleporting to the lush pasture farm, I went out to complete more easy quests while I waited for my flax crop to grow. Returning to Thornhold, I began searching for this dog that the hunter wanted me to tame, and killing off the scavengers here, I entered the kennel. Reading the sign, it had some interesting information. Last fed Monday, hand accidental. How does one accidentally feed a hand to a dog? So continuing to clear out the scavengers, I checked another sign. And eventually finding Ruffles, I tossed out some bait and tamed him rather quickly. Returning home, I crafted a dog bed and bowl, but was out of purple berries for the food. So collecting the flax I planted, I shoved it into the spindle to turn into linen, before heading out to collect some purple berries, and eventually crafting the food after returning, I placed down the dog bed and bowl near the fireplace. I finished the adventurer armor set by crafting the boots and a hero's shield, celebrated by petting the dog, and eventually crafting some bandages before teleporting to the low meadow spire, picking a good spot and leaping straight off. I assume it's that thing over there? Also, wow, this glider takes you so much further. I flew over to where the quest marker was at, deciding not to land in the middle of the camp area as I veered off and landed just outside. Hello, Yoka. Hello, Mr. Ewok. Taking out the first Vuka, I continued into the Vuka ceremony grounds. Vuka Brawler. Oh! Seeing as this was a boss fight, I focused on taking out the healers first. Okay, now I can worry about you. Hello, big boy. Ah! Dealing the final blow, I looted the brawler's corpse, gaining a new ring and its head as my prize. Collecting the soul of Marianne Reed, I tracked another quest before leaving. Teleporting back to the Low Meadow Spire, I landed at another hidden tomb entry. Exploring the tomb, I swapped to my bone mace. I moved forward, eventually killing the Hollow Mage as I collected the Eternal Ice Bolt. Completing the quest, I exited the tomb. I decided to stay on the path, hoping it would lead me out of the shroud. And eventually, once I got out of it, I teleported back to the lush pasture base, heading to another quest that was near it. I'm curious, what is Vaka? The beast runs through veins, your health and strength increased, and paws touch. Okay, cool. So because I got a pet, I get buffs. Nice. I also feel stronger when I pet my cat in real life. Reaching Fort Calvin, I entered through the sewers, and then popping out in the dungeons, I had to take out some rats. And looting a chest, I gained some new building blocks before destroying some shelves in order to make a lockpick. Using it to unlock the door, I began exploring Fort Calvin. This place is nice. It is very nice. And breaking down the gates, I explored Fort Calvin, killing off Vuka as I came across them. Eventually reaching a clearing just outside of the fort. These Vuka love their mud. And then mining some stone, I crafted another flame altar. This fort might just be where I make my main base at. I wanted to place down my flame altar, but it was continuously getting blocked by some enemies. Oh, it's probably the rats underneath. and I began looking for somewhere I could place it down at. Eventually climbing up a tower as I crafted a torch so I could see, and climbing up the metal lattice, I collected the soul of Hannah Reed, and then looting the chest as I grabbed another executioner's axe at the top. Just outside the inner gate of the fort, I was able to place down the flame altar, giving me a teleport location in this region. But as I continued to search through the fort, I picked up another music sheet as I was one step closer to completing that quest. The day started by me killing off a Vuka through the door. Breaking down the door as I climbed up to the top of a tower to glide towards the actual quest I was trying to complete, reaching the hidden hunting grounds. I eventually got there and I was able to interact with the obelisk there, finally completing the quest. And then checking the quest log again, I decided to track another quest for the carpenter. Heading out, I made my way back to Thornhold and rushing through so as to not have to deal with the scavengers. See, you guys that chose to follow me lost your lives for it. And eventually entering Thornhold, I began looking for some saw blades, killing one of the mutated scavengers as I leveled up to level 19. Level 19, let's go! And then following the quest markers, I made my way to Fawnsong Frontier, a scavenger camp. I proceeded to clear it of the scavengers before looting their corpses of metal scraps. And then climbing up the hill, I swung my sword at an archer as I hit an explosive barrel in the process, killing the archer and myself. Whoops, should have seen that coming. Respawning at the Fort Calvin base, I made my way back to Fawnsong Frontier, killing the remaining scavengers as I found the saw blades before returning home, collecting all the new quests from the survivors in order to end off the day. Waking up on day 41, I made sure to pet Ruffles and Strudel. You have to show the pets some love every now and then. And then crafting the table saw for the carpenter after making some nails. I placed it down and queued up some wooden planks to craft. Checking my quests, I tracked one for the alchemist, and teleporting to the Springland Spire, I headed out in search of the alchemist's mortar. Gliding over the shroud, I stopped and explored some ruins, clearing out the hollows within, and then eventually reaching the lone thistle area. I avoided the zombies that were stumbling around, searching for the tower's hidden button. As I entered a building, I fought and killed a lone hollow with a merciless attack before shutting the door. Searching the tower, eventually collecting the mortar before finding and pushing the second button, unlocking the exit. Looking at my skills, I unlocked the Giant Slayer hook skill before tracking another quest, and it was a short journey, even a stop to collect some sparks from a flame shrine as I continued to head to the Queen's Catacombs. Getting stuck on the side of the mountain, I mined myself a staircase up, continuing on until I stumbled upon the Mistberry Catacombs. While exploring, I shot a button before crafting more arrows. Having to deal with the wraith, I collected the shroud cores from the corpses before swinging over the gap in the bridge and pressing the second button. Eventually finding the exit, I ran out as I activated the return beacon before continuing searching for the remaining buttons. Re-entering the catacombs, I found the lore page with the clues, and reading over it, I continued to search for these buttons. Killing the hollows that guarded the third one as I pressed it, and then as I explored, I looted a chest as inside was a legendary bronze sword. Checking its stats before resuming the search for the final button, and now it took me way too long to find the last button. So searching through the catacombs multiple times it seemed, and then finally finding it, I shot the target and unlocked the door. Looting the Queen's tomb, I gained a new shield, the Pike Meads Bulwark, completing a quest. Tracking another nearby one, I decided to make my exit, go partake in some grave digging. Ethically, of course. So running through the dark landscape as I fell into a hole. I had to mine a tunnel out to continue back to Lone Thistle, and then gliding into the village, I greeted the zombies before taking them out. As digging up the grave, I collected the Hail Scourge Blade, checking yet another quest off my list. As I exited the shroud, I ran into the nearby alchemist tower, using it to be able to teleport home, where I placed down the mortar, upgraded the Hail Scourge, checking its stats as I replaced my two-handed mace as I was past the point of using it, scrapping it down for runes, and eventually talking to Cade as I crafted the advanced grappling hook before heading out to check a question mark on my map in Revelwood. Collecting some sparks from a flame sanctum I found, I stumbled upon some poison sacks and penny buns, collecting them as well before continuing to search for this quest location. Finding another carpentry camp, I dug up a treasure chest, finding another executioner's axe. More runes for me, I guess. I continued exploring until I made my way into Lumen Light Cave, where in the depths of the cave I found that the question mark was a shroud root. Getting pushed off the ledge I was on by some boars as I cleared the area. Chopping down the shroud root, avoiding the final remaining archer as I did so. And with the shroud root gone, I focused on the archer, collecting some wizard pants from the chest he was guarding. Making my way out of the cave, I glided down the hillside before checking out my skills. Finally, with my skills though, I can get this grounding hook to pull use a grappling hook to pull flying enemies towards me during combat. Deciding to tackle another quest, I tracked the one from the blacksmith called Reach the Capital. So teleporting to Revelwood Spires, I made my way towards the city. Gliding over the shroud, I took out a hollow guarding the entrance to a tomb, unlocking the How Far Have We Come achievement. While exploring the tomb, I looted the casket, grabbing an archer chest piece for my troubles, and I then made my way out of the tomb and continued heading for the capital. Reaching the edge of the shroud, I noticed an elixir well. Clearing it would give me a moment of respite from the shroud if I cleared it, so that's what I decided to do. But not before I skilled some points into my tank tree. And most of day 45 was spent clearing out the elixir well, dying to the first group of hollows I encountered. So respawning, I ate some food, drank some water, and regained my stamina before dropping back into the well. Using my newly gained skill, I grappled the wraith from midair, pulling him within my reach and killing it. I collected his shroud cores, before continuing to clear out the well, only to be swarmed by critters as I died. Again. Take number 3. Dropping back into the well, I killed a wraith before reaching the shroud root. Oh, there's 2 of these brutes this time. But as I was fighting the pair of fell thunder brutes, I ran out of stamina and died shortly after. Okay, this time for sure. So I made my way back to the shroud root and began fighting the thunder brutes. And taking out the thunder brute, I collected some blink daggers from the corpses. Oh cool, we could take out the glowing mushroom, very nice. Before heading to the roots and chopping it down, and checking the new weapons I collected, I noticed that once upgraded, they had a 5% chance to poison. From experience, I knew that poison really hurts. So exiting the well, I retracked the Pikemead's quest before making my way through the shroud, gliding into Pikemead's reach as I killed a shroud boar, collecting another shroud sack before searching the city and clearing out the hollows. Finding a locked chest, I used a lockpick to gain a warrior's helmet from inside, and as I was exploring, I came across the flame sanctum here, collecting the sparks and a kettle. I completed another quest. Nice. Finding a shroud root, I chopped it down quickly before clearing out the enemies guarding it, collecting sparks from a different flame shrine as I entered Shanty Shacks, looting a wolf's morph sword from a dead body, and then searching the castle grounds as I uncovered Huckster Square. Inside, a return beacon was activated as I searched for the way into the castle. A fell thunderbrute appeared, so I tried to fight it, only to die because my main weapons were damaged. Trying to respawn, I got spawn camped by the brute, killing me once again, and then respawning, I avoided the brute ducking into a building where I found a repair anvil. Perfect. With my weapons repaired, I killed the fell thunderbrute, allowing me to chop down another shroud root that was here. And looting the chest near the shroud root, I picked up the Guard of the North gloves before continuing to search for the castle entrance. But as I was searching, I fell into a gap, and with my enshrouded timer ticking down rather quickly, I might add, I frantically searched for any area to regain it. Okay, cool. This spot is apparently not in the shroud. Fantastic. Finding a small area not covered in the shroud, I regained my timer before continuing to search. Parkouring around the castle walls, I made my way into the Imperial Gardens, collecting another lore page as I entered the Pike's Fort. And then looking into the courtyard, I jumped in. That's when the fell wisp wyvern revealed itself. Knowing this was going to be a hard fight, and I clearly was not fully equipped just yet, I headed out of the city to set up a flame shrine so I can easily return, and then headed home to prepare. As I returned home, I began preparing to kill that damn lizard. Crafting some copper arrows, I maxed out all of my weapons and crafted a load of bandages. but I was now ready to take on the wisp wyvern once more. So teleporting back to the flame shrine I set up, I made my way through the castle grounds, jumped into the courtyard and began fighting the big lizard. Oh my god, no mana. No stamina. No stamina! No needed! Yeah! Die, you stupid overgrown lizard! Killing the wisp wyvern, I looted its body, gaining a new ring. And using the key that the wyvern dropped, I could enter the castle, collecting the royal cosmetic set from a chest inside. Since I'm in the area, I should look what other quests I can do. So checking my map, I began searching for the hidden attic mentioned in the Dark Rites quest. Breaking a bookshelf in the building marked, I collected the cryptic wand, completing the first step of the quest. And tracking another quest inside the castle walls, I began digging up a garden, finding the quest item rather quickly. With the wisp wyvern's defeat, I decided to travel home to see if there are any new quests. Also, I wanted to see if I could struggle to get the remaining requirements to upgrade my flame altar. I just had to figure out how to get goo. Talking to Balthazar, I crafted some bug dust which unlocked the goo recipe. Sweet! So crafting the goo needed to upgrade my flame altar, I checked what else I needed. Indigo flowers and amber, so teleporting to the Revelwood Spire, jumped off and glided over the shroud in search of amber. As it was dark, I really couldn't see where I was going, and landing on the side of the mountain as I fell to my death inside of the shroud. Let's try that again. So gliding over the shroud, I landed safely this time and began searching for amber. Finding it, I harvested up a bunch. I found a chest as I made my way through the shroud as I got another new great mace. Too bad it was a two-handed weapon, and at this point I was kinda committed to the one-handed thing. Finding some indigo flowers, I collected a bunch to end off the day. So checking my map, I noticed a few quests bunched together where I was, and then reaching Glenwood's End, I began exploring. And as I entered the room, I noticed a health bar pop up. Another scavenger gorgon matron. And rushing in, I began fighting it only to die to poison. Respawning nearby, I made my way back. Fighting the gorgon again, I got poisoned again. I'll come back to this another time. I can't be bothered to try and fight a gorgon matron right now. So deciding to return at a later point, I headed home, using the amber and indigo I collected as I strengthened my flame altar. Knowing day 51 was right around the corner and the new update looming over my head, not knowing entirely what was coming, I decided to spend the rest of the day gathering resources to build myself a strong base, giving me everything I would need in my break period while I waited for the update to take over my world. Welcome to Major Update 6 of Enshrouded. There's a lot to cover, but we will figure it out together. While waiting on the update, I did a few things, and this is my new base, Fort Natural. There's a crafting area, a storage area, a villager area, and more, but nothing new than what you had already seen. I also learned what my forfeit is if I don't finish this challenge, and believe me, I do not want to do this. If I fail to achieve 100% by day 100, which is looking rather unlikely knowing how much I still gotta do, I'll have to do the good old ice bucket challenge. But if I do complete it, then my editor Grav has to do it. So no matter what, you're going to see someone doused in icy water at the end of this video, and I hope it ain't me. Deciding to complete a quest for the farmer, I headed out, and exploring the shroud I came across an odd looking mushroom stalk. Chopping it down, I collected some shroud mushrooms. Nice. Continuing to explore, I came across an odd looking door, requiring a spark to open, which I did not have on me. So I swiftly returned to base, collecting some shroud cores and sparks as I returned to the door. Required spark. Open the night door. Can I only open this at night? Realizing I could only open this door at night, I decided to focus on another new quest. Okay, let's go try the other new thing. So we gotta go find a gem forge. And exploring a bit as I ran into some ruins. Convenient little repair station. And then killing off the local shroud inhabitants as I repaired my gear. Got the high ground. Not anymore. He's got the dead ground. Shoving an enemy off my perch as I continue to explore. Locating the gem forge shortly after as I cleared the area. Interacting with the forge, I needed to first find my first gems. Gems were added with this update, and they are enhancements you can add to your gear to give yourself different buffs. So heading out from the gem forge, I followed the quest markers locating where the intruders came from. Finding a shroud lair nearby, I started investigating it. But while investigating this lair, I lost my footing and fell into the lava. Respawning at the nearby respawn beacon, and this game was beautiful before, but with the lighting changes, it made it even more so. Collecting some new flowers, the midnight lily, which is one of the new type of ingredients you get, which only spawn at night. I also charted a new location, the Pillars of Creation, as I leveled up to level 22. Finding a flame sanctum, I collected the sparks before making my way back to that shroud lair. As I made my way back to the lair, I made sure to avoid the spicy soup. Heading deeper into the lairs, I came across some new enemies and collecting some archaic essence of the dead bodies before continuing down the squishy corridor. And then eventually I had to break through a blocked access point. And eventually finding a wraith, I killed it and collected my very first gem. The Gem of Bleeding. When embedded into my weapon, grants a bleed debuff onto enemies when hit with a critical hit. Nice! Passive damage is good damage. So now I got a gem, so now I can go use the gem forge. Fantastic. As I returned to the gem forge, I quickly upgraded the gem level before embedding it into Hail Scourge, since it had better cutting damage than my Wailing Blade. So gems are one of the more interesting to me changes this update. I found a whole variety of them throughout the rest of the playthrough, but they're essentially just an additional way to upgrade your builds. As I left the gem forge, I decided to try and test my new bleed damage on the nearby shroud walkers. But as they were too weak, they didn't really give me a decent test. You know what, I need to find a big guy to test out my bleed damage on. So returning to a quest I previously didn't complete, a crucial investigation, I sought out the scavenger gorgon matron in Glenwood's End. So traveling to the Revelwood spires, from there I made my way over to Glenwood's End. Oh, I saved myself from death. Yeah, jumping and gliding without checking your stamina is a quick way to die. Luckily, I only took a little over half my HP from the fall. In the shroud, I found a weird spawner that required a shroud core to activate. Required shroud core. Conjure a fell enemy. One day I'll have to come back and see what that does, but for now, I continue to head towards Glenwood's End, taking on some enemies along the way. Okay, so their bleed definitely has a bit of a weird texture to it. I have a feeling that will get fixed or changed. I found a hidden tomb, like a kid in a candy store, as I got distracted and explored the tomb. Killing off the skeletal enemies within, I continued to search, finding some lore pages and a greater health potion before making my exit. You know what I want to do? I want to go explore that night door, so I'm heading home quick. Once I returned to base, I threw my stuff into storage before heading out to that weird night door. And finding a weird pit, I checked it out. What's going on here? Sacrificial VUCA pit. Ugh. And in the pile of the bones of the pit, I dug out a pair of sacrificial VUCA daggers. Great, more useless weapons. From there, I made my way to the night door, only to realize that I stored the sparks back in my chest. Great. Back home I went, collected the sparks. Probably gonna be morning by the time I get there. I made my way back to the door just as I heard the rooster crowing to signal the start of another day. I just heard the chicken crow and I just got here. Luckily for me though, the door was still able to be opened. So inside I went, and inside I found another survivor cinder vessel. Time to wake up whoever it was. Awakened survivor. Ilioriki. Exiting the vault, I went back home to see what this barber was all about. Crafting a summoning rod to spawn in Elio, I assigned him a mattress before checking him out. Cool, so I can change my character. I kinda don't want to change myself right now. So tracking Follow the Melody quest, I decided to continue it since last time I tried, I got stuck. So gliding over the shroud as I entered a tomb and cleared out the hollows within. Hi guys, how y'all doing? Aren't you looking pretty today? Pretty dead. And inside the tomb was a casket. Inside the casket was some draped in envy. Whatever it was, I had no idea what it did, but it did unlock a recipe. So repairing my gear before I left, I continued on my journey. Finding another night door, I decided to pass the time by exploring a nearby cave, but unfortunately there was nothing inside. However, it might make for a nice little outpost base location. Then once night fell, I opened the night door, avoiding the traps to collect the chest within. Archer gloves from the first chest was a chest from the second, and the third and last chest had something I might actually use, a noble sword. So making my way out of the sanctum, I collected and used an experience scroll. Let's go kill the gorgon matron quickly while I'm here. So I set off for Glenwood's End, clearing the village once I entered, as I spent the remainder of the day searching for the big gorgon matron. After what was way too long, I finally found the matron and she got the preemptive hit on me. I retreated to heal and wait out the poison damage, and then once healed up, I returned ready for a proper fight. So with improved skills and better understanding of the matron's attacks, I easily defeated it. Collecting a new weapon, Sword of the Serpent, from the chest. So seeing as I was in the area, I decided to knock out another quick and easy quest, and searching the nearby area, I began digging around. And reading the quest log, it said something about the trash pit, so that's where I decided to look. And then digging in the trash, I found a chest, which once I looted, gave me some blunt knives. I'm so glad she told me about that trash pit, otherwise I never would have gotten those blunt knives. And checking my map, I set a waypoint for the nearest quest. Lost Soul Alchemy Assistant. Entering the house near the trash pit, I cleared out the spiders before searching around and finding the lore notes within as I checked around for any secrets. So into the ground I dug and voila, I found it. Hello. Lady Eclair. Collecting the soul once I made my way into the secret cellar's back room as I left. Gliding from the top of the building, I flew straight into a tree, plummeting to my death. I'm a human, not a flying squirrel. Give me a break. So respawning, I made my way back into the shroud, avoiding the trees this time. I don't know what it is. This place just seems a lot spookier than when I came through here last time. And exiting the shroud on the far side, I continued making my way towards the ancient Black Mire Spire. Oh wow, that is very cool. Can't even really see where I'm going at night. Use my glorified torch. I found myself using jump pads to clear gaps in the terrain and avoiding the mud as I encountered a new creature. And killing it, I collected some reptile hide before getting sucked down into the mud, dying. And respawning once again, I decided to try a different route, killing some enemies along my path before applying my skill points and traveling back to the swampy area I made in just before the sun rose. Continuing to try and make it to the ancient Black Mire Spire. I crossed the bridge as the sun rose, and crossing the muddy swampy area, I saw some weird purple lights. Intrigued, I checked them out only to get attacked. Taking out the little pixie things as I continued forward. Destination, the ancient Black Mire Spire, but blocking my path was a VUCA camp. And taking out the first wave, I decided it really wasn't worth my time to clear out all the VUCA. So I ran through and glided out of the cavern. Oh my god, are there like whole VUCA civilizations in this area? That's crazy. And as I traveled down the hill, I saw another VUCA camp. So this area is like, not Shroud really, but the VUCA. Exiting the Ewok camp, I came across a return beacon. At least now I won't have to travel through the Shroud again when I eventually die. Charting a new area, the Snapjaw Tar Pits. So that's what those creatures are called. I began exploring. Sometimes, that's okay. You don't have to play every game like you're trying to max your stats efficiently. Play to have fun. Like for me, the best is probably to have gone Archer, but I'm sticking with my warrior through and through. I'll fight every last enemy, even if I can't hit them and have to just grapple myself to their faces. And then at the top of the tar pits, I found an obelisk. Interacting with it before continuing exploring, and gliding down from the obelisk, I charted the sunken ancient city, activating another respawn beacon. As I was exploring, making my way through the large tree roots, I slipped into the tar pits and died again. Luckily, I had recently found that respawn beacon and desperate to get to the shrine. I will mine my way up if I have to. I started just mining up the cliffside. At the top, I thought I found some new resource I could mine, but it was just clay. Exiting the brush, I picked some new gloomberries, before following the path to the spire. Reaching it, I collected the lore page at the bottom before entering. And the spire had me avoiding not only traps, but my own failures as I had to go outside of it and climb the tree branches to get to the higher floors. I don't want to go through there, I want to go up. Boing. Boing. Ow. That's so nice of the tree to grow a grappling hook for me. After some expert parkouring, I made my way to the top of the spire and activating the fast travel beacon before searching the top of the spire. Communion with the flame, it wanted me to travel across the sea and free a songbird, whatever that meant. And then as I was exploring the top of the spire, I slipped and gliding to save myself a rather embarrassing death, I made my way to the sunken city. Noticing the temple had 3 button icons above the door, I started searching for them. And after what seemed like ages, I finally managed to find all the buttons, granting me access into the heart of the temple. And then reaching the cinder vessel, I awoke the survivor lying within. Back at base, I spawned in Lady Leclerc. You're the alchemist assistant, huh? I'll go miss you, I guess. And then once finished with her, I spawned in Marion Reed before crafting some rustic mattresses for the remaining survivors I had to spawn. Hannah Reed goes there. Valerie goes there. And talking to Valerie the bard, I accepted what quest she had before crafting myself a harp. Sitting down to test my music skills. And then queuing up some reptile leather to dry in the drying rack to end off the day. Starting out day 58, I decided to track a quest for the blacksmith. Making my way through the cave passage as I came across some shroud boars. Can't pass up collecting some stacks, you know. The pillars of creation. That is a massive bridge. And as I passed under the bridge, I noticed a doorway into the cliff. So, intrigued, I decided to go check it out. And as I began to investigate the cave, I charted the inner sanctum. Whoa. Inner sanctum. Inner sanctum of what? Like, I realize I'm always getting distracted by random quests, but you know, this looked interesting. I want to see what it is. As I explored the inner sanctum, I came across a few traps which I easily avoided, and eventually finding a chest, I opened it to find Banebringer. Special item acquired, Banebringer. Why couldn't it be like a sword? And then continuing to explore the inner sanctum, I found a door. Locked. Why are you locked? And then noticing a grappling point right next to the door, I used it to swing over the gap and continue. Searching this area, I found the first of 2 buttons to unlock the door blocking my path, and then shortly after I found the second. Let's see what's behind door number 2. Climbing the steps, I find another obelisk. Okay. Cool. Found another ancient obelisk. I do have to go and find all of them because that's one of the achievements. So it's good that I'm doing this, as this does count towards working towards 100%. And after searching around a bit, I eventually found the masonry tools I was looking for. Collecting some lore pages, one of which mentioned a dragon sword, and that sounds like something I could use. I also found a cool looking hammer named Arrow Striker inside a chest I had to grapple to in order to reach. And now I was far past using two-handed weapons, but this hammer looked pretty damn cool. So continuing out of the inner sanctum, I came across another VUCA camp. Oh, more VUCA people. A VUCA camp. And sneaking my way past, I stole their chest, taking the shocking ice wand without being detected, and left. Oh I'm at the top of the bridge now. But then as I attempted to climb onto the bridge, I fell. Oh. Guess I'm going this way now. So gliding to safety, I landed in what seemed to be a desert region, collecting some sugarcane before killing some enemies. Corrosive blood repair kit at Hunter. That sounds like a new item. That could be interesting. Cool. Reaching the blazing rock trading outpost, I began clearing it of scavengers, only to retreat due to taking way too much damage. And then dying shortly after from starvation while I was trying to run. And then respawning. Oh. Or a night patrol. Ah, god damn it. I got spotted and took out the patrol. Collected a foul broadsword from one of the bodies. Purple berry cake at farmer. Ooh, that sounds yummy. And then collecting some bell peppers as I made my way back to the trading post. Come on, Greenie, where you at? Let's go take you out. So killing off the final scavenger, I began searching the outpost. At the top of the tower, I looted night gloves from the chest, an upgrade from what I currently had. I'll get a lot better armor later on, but for now this was great. Gliding over the shroud, I landed on a large island. And then activating a flame altar on this island, I crafted my own so I had a teleport location in the region. Like I'm going into the shroud. And then base diving, I glided into the shroud, charting the Umber Hollow as I landed. Getting attacked by a giant mushroom, I had to take it out. Waiting for its poison cloud to dissipate before looting its corpse. Collecting ammonia and unlocking acid bite. I then made my way to Jasper Isles as I was beginning to search for the blacksmith's missing delivery. Oh, shrouded. And then clearing out the zombies, I chopped down the shrouded, giving me a clear area so I can look it around. Collecting some tin bars inside one of the buildings, I looted the chest. Wild Heart Seekers. But leaving the stupid wand inside, I found another near chest nearby, and I found the meat chopper. Taking it for runes later, I resumed searching for the smithing tools. Whoa, what is that? What the f is that? Giant jellyfish? And seeing the giant flying jellyfish, I needed to keep my distance. But now I need to keep searching Jaspers. It has to be somewhere here. Like the quest literally says it's somewhere here. Eventually finding a grave, I dug down just in case what I was looking for was buried there. And eventually spotting the glowing tools from across the lava, I glided over, collecting them and a coiling one from the chest. Grabbing up the lore page, I leveled up to 24, and then grabbing the moon over the world music page before I left the area. Teleporting back to base, I talked to Oswald before clearing out my inventory, placing down both masonry and smithing tools in the workshop as I gave Ruffles some love before seeing he needed more food. Quickly crafted up some cat and dog food and fed my pets before unlocking the jump attack skill. Oh, rumors of the dragon cave. I think that is where I'm going to go tomorrow. See if I can go find this dragon cave, because it looks like I get a cool sword from it. And then I decided to just end the day by harvesting some tomatoes I planted, resting and relaxing at base, as tomorrow we head to the dragon cave. Starting the day bright and early, I thought about what I wanted to do, deciding to go see what this dragon's cave was all about as I set out, mining my way up the mountain as I got close to the cave location marked on my map. I suppose I dive down the hole? So doing my best Ezio impression, I dove down and searching the cavern below as I spotted the entrance. This looks like a cave. And after mining some rubble, I found a sharp shark tooth. Neat, that'll go great in my collection. But then as I explored the cave, I saw it. A giant dragon's head carved into the wall. This must be the dragon's cave. Avoiding their attacks as I looted the chest. Inside, the legendary dragon sword. Its damage better than the hail scourge. I think I just found my new main weapon. So returning to base, I talked to Oswald, enhancing the dragon sword's damage. I needed more legendary runes in order to fully max it out, so off I went tracking a story of Rot quest, and traveling through the landscape as I made my way to the quest location where I found another obelisk. Interacting with it, I unlocked the Springland Secret Keeper achievement. Read all obelisks in the Springlands. Springland Secret Keeper. Let's go. Where am I? Southern Carolina. You know what? We might as well do this quest. since I'm here. You can give me some colors and a lore note. And clearing off this area's quest from my log. Yeah, what else is in the area? What is this? Finding a garden gnome. You know what? Let's go get a garden gnome. So I made my way to the wistful fields, finding the garden gnome after harvesting all the crops and digging into one of the fields. And spending the morning, I continued clearing out the quests in this region. Alright, may as well go for this next. And eventually tracking the quest in need of a tanning session for the hunter. And on my way to the quest location, I found a flame sanctum. So collecting the sparks before continuing my travels. I really need to make myself a better backpack so I can carry more junk. And eventually reaching the edge of the mountain, I dove down into the settlement below, charting Raven's Keep as I landed as I activated a respawn beacon. Cool, what's in here? What's behind door number 1? A lever. Searching the keep, I found another lever and a lore note, and completing this step of the quest, I searched some more, eventually finding the final button as I pushed it, giving me access to the chest. Inside the chest was some fancy stone blocks. I probably won't use them, but hey, recipes are cool. And then exiting the keep as I came across another flame shrine. More sparks for me. Remember that flame altar I put down? Well, it was about to be used as I teleported to it and using it as the high ground from where I glided down into the shroud. May as well come here to this elixir well. And fighting off the fell at the top of the well. One of the bastards knocked me down into the well. Oh. Well, I guess I'm in here now. Let's just go deal with this shroud route, shall we? So traversing through the depths of the well, I found myself having some trouble swinging across a gap. Took a couple attempts, but I got it across. And eventually reaching the root, I stopped in my tracks as a new enemy. The fell monstrosity was the god. Guess it's you or me. Let's dance. And fighting through the early morning, I managed to kill the fell monstrosity, gaining its head and ribcage as my trophies. Also, I got a new chest armor, the knight's chest piece. Nice, an upgrade. Dealing with the stragglers, I chopped the root down before replacing my adventurer chest piece with a knight one. You know what, you guys can have it. I'm leaving, I'm out of here. So deciding not to finish off the remaining enemies, I just made my way to the exit. Exiting the well, I picked some mushrooms. Mint mushroom meat. Yummy. And gaining new recipes as I began to loot the corpses at the top, one of which held a gem of agility. What do you do? Stamina, additional cutting when after performing dodge, the next hit deals 11 additional cutting damage and replenishes 35 stamina on the next hit. Oh! And briefly going over the agility gem, it gave a boost to cutting damage after dodging. Seems like it would be useful, so shoveling it back into my backpack, I spotted another new enemy. Whoa, what is that? Look at tentacle. So heading towards Lupa's lair as directed by my quest, finding yet another flame sanctum, I leveled up to 25, unlocking the impressive journey achievement. Using the skill point I got from the level up, I finally learned the double jump skill. I probably should have gone a lot sooner, would have helped me traverse a lot of locations. But you know what, I have it now, and that's what counts. And then as I entered Brightwitch, I decided, you know what, let's try and take on the flying jellyfish. Ouchie, okay, leave the jellyfish hurt. Jellyfish really hurt. Run away from the jellyfish. The jellyfish hurt a lot. So fleeing from the flying jellies, I encountered some wraiths, enemies I could deal with. Killing them, I looted their bodies, one of which held the gem of corruption. Seeing what it did, I shoved it in my pack before continuing onwards to Lupa's lair. That was like Tomb of the Serpent or something. And getting distracted by the snake cave, I had to explore it. I mean, wouldn't you? So searching for all the buttons to open the locked door, my enshrouded timer was dangerously low. Attempting to make my way back to the nearby flame sanctum, I misjudged just how far away it was, eventually succumbing to the shroud. I want to go back to that temple. I want to see what it is. I'm interested now. Now, I knew I was in a quest, but I still decided to go investigate the Ouroboros temple. Spending the rest of the day searching for the buttons, shooting them when I found them, Climbing around the cavern, I spotted the 4th button. There. How do I get up there? So expertly parkouring my way around the chains and pillars as I shot the 4th button. Only one more button to find. And stepping on the one button I found that seemed to not stick, I realized it opened the door across the way. So aiming my bow as I shot the target inside. Ah, okay. So I had to hold that open and shoot across to open it. But is that done? Yes. Let's go see what's in Ouroboros' Tomb of the Serpent. Was this worth the time sink? Probably not, let's be honest here. So heading into the temple, I looted the chest, and what did I get? Probably could have guessed it. It would be a bow. Bow of the Serpent. So the answer to my question is no. No, it was not worth it. Making my way out of the Ouroboros temple, I ran into the deadly shroud. So that's what the red shroud is. Noted. Making my way out of the shroud, I stopped by the flame sanctum to refill my timer, and killing a tentacle, I collected some shroud adhesive before continuing to make my way out. Taking out some Ewoks, I found and mined some tin ore. New resource, gotta get it. And as I made my way further and further through the shroud, I stopped by a Vuka camp to refill my timer. And as I was stranger invading the Ewok's home, one came to check what I was doing, so we had a staring match while my timer continued refilling. Once full, I proceeded to take the Ewok out before leaving his family asking questions. Don't mind me guys, I'm coming through. I didn't feel like fighting any of you. And as I exited the shroud, I made my way to a nearby bridge. Hi friendos, and fighting off the scavenger archers as one got knocked off the bridge. And eventually managed to cross a bridge, I finally made my way to Lupa's lair on the day of 65. Immediately stepping into a bear trap. I hadn't quite had my coffee yet. So clearing out the scavengers, I had to make an educated retreat in order to heal up. Collecting some sage as I avoided the archers shooting down at me, and healing up with the help of a bandage, I began clearing out the scavengers once again. Finding the arena, I called out the big gorgon matron, and then during the fight, I got poisoned. Drinking an antidote, thinking it would work, but it didn't. So eventually I died to the poison damage anyway. And respawning oh so far away. Oh, I'm all the way back here. I checked the description of the antidote. Will provide a cure for poison. Oh, no it ain't, fucking ain't. And seeing a building near the flame shrine. I think I make this my home away from home. Just like us in this area, this is so far. I entered Bounty Barn, cleared it of the hyenas before placing down a flame altar, claiming it for my nomad Highlands outpost. Returning to base, I did some housekeeping, smelting bronze, clearing my inventory before heading back to tackle the matron. Fight number 2, death number 2. The poison is a pain in the ass. Well, since the antidotes don't work, I need to just get good. And just kill her without getting hit like I've done all the others. I fought the matron for a 3rd time. Barely survived. Barely survived. Barely living from the poison, I attempted to retreat to heal, but with no heals in my pack, it was fruitless and I died anyway. So respawning yet again, I returned home, crafting up some health pots and refreshing my rested buff before heading back out to deal with that matron. Let's go. Attempt number whatever. And as the sun rose on day 66, I made my way back to Lupa's lair, calling out the matron once again as I began attacking. Just tank the poison, tank it. And finally, with a final slash of my sword, the matron falls. Being poisoned, I'd try to heal through it, but it made no difference as the poison tick damage was just way too powerful. So respawning, I went back to Lupa's lair and began searching it. Only this time I didn't have to deal with that big poisoning bastard matron. Finding the tanning station tucked in a corner, I completed the quest I came here to do. The lifesteal is actually kind of insane on the hammer. The fact that it was keeping up with the poison. I need to keep that in mind. Reflecting on the battle with the matron, I eventually returned home and talking to the hunter before placing down the tanning station in my workshop. Looking through my quest log, I decided to head to the Low Meadows Spire. And gliding from the top, I made it to the trade outpost, Nomad's Drop, leaving it for later as I was on a mission to get one final quest done today. Finding a chest, I looted it as inside was Flesh Grinder, a one-handed club. Checking its stats, it looked pretty good. So continuing on through the shroud, only to misjudge my time and ended the day with a death to the shroud. I started off the day by gliding over the shroud, searching for the abandoned caravan camp. Climbing up the mountainside, I found where the camp was, and diving into it, I cleared out the hyenas before collecting the lore note.
Oh, I guess we're going to Surrat's Rest.
So climbing up the mountain, I peered off into the distance.
I assume that's Surrat's Rest.
And seeing some structures across the shroud, I took flight, gliding over it, eventually landing at the entrance. And clearing out the scavengers, something shiny caught my eye, buried in the rubble pile. Digging into it, I collected a large sea lily fossil. So continuing to search through Surrat's Rest, I came across another scavenger matron. Pulling myself towards it, I chain locked myself, allowing it to hit me with its damn poison. And after dying once again to poison, I respawned and started on my way all the way back to Surrat's Rest. I chose to chop down a tree in hopes it would give me some interesting wood type, but it didn't. It was just regular wood. So I continued making my way, gliding over the shroud, and I landed on the top of the Nomad's Drop trade outpost.
Missed the return beacon. There's one right here. I suppose I did just glide straight in.
So clearing off the bridge, I made my way into the city, cleared out the minion scavengers, and as I crafted up some string before repairing my gear. And then entering the arena, I got instantly poisoned.
I'm already poisoned. I thought I dodged that. Apparently not.
So succumbing to the poison or the wolf bite didn't really matter. So collecting some stone upon respawning, I crafted and placed down a flame altar, teleporting back home, upgrading flesh grinder. I then checked to see what I needed to strengthen my flame. Fossilized bone, robust, I had no idea where to get those. So I spent the rest of the day at base, crafting a bronze pickaxe and a better backpack before heading back to Surrat's Rest. And then in the morning I entered the arena of day 69. Nice. I called out the matron only to die once again to the damn poison. New strat. Let's throw some explosive balls to start the fight, but I guess it only pissed her off more.
See, one hit and I'm gonna be dead.
The poison does so much damage. Teleporting back home, I regain my rested buff and my health before crafting a bunch of heals and health regen items.
Cool. I got plenty of health potions, I got plenty of stamina, I got plenty of everything I should.
So back to Surrat's Rest, I fought the matron one last time. Playing a game of dodge the poison, eventually managing to kill it.
Made all those health potions, didn't even need it for this attainment.
Why did I go through all of that, you might ask? For the almanac of plants and seedlings for my farmer. Prying it from the matron's corpse, I began searching the lair, collecting some limestone blocks from a chest to complete a quest, and seeing that a music sheet was located here, I began searching. Finding the music sheet of daggers and wine, I then collected another lore note, mined the nursery supplies, which gave me even more quests to do here. Eventually finding the Verily Verdant color palette, I leveled up to 26. Nice. Taking out a scavenger, it dropped me a gem of overpowering, and I'll check that out later. And eventually seeing an explosive barrel buried in some rubble, tossing an explosive powder ball at it. I looted the newly uncovered chest, completing the nursery supplies quest.
Oh nice. I've completed a decent number of questies in this area. I should head home so I can take the almanac.
And back at base, I talked to the farmer before placing down the almanac, ending the day by completing one final quest.
Jeez, I'm like barely breaking even with these quests.
And scrolling through my quest log, I saw there was a group bunched up by the shanty shacks. So off I went, finding a new location, Roost Nook, and as I headed towards a cluster of quests.
Oh, there are a lot of pigs and flowers here.
And running through the shroud, I eventually saw even more jellyfish, so making sure to avoid them, finding myself at the entrance to another elixir well.
Elixir well? Not what I planned to come and do, but you know what, we'll do it.
And then before entering the well, something caught my eye.
Whoa, what is that? I want to fight it.
And killing this new enemy type, I wondered.
Do I get anything? Petrified stalker shell.
So with the stalker defeated, I made my way into the well and began clearing it out.
Ignoring all of you so I can go into the to-do. Cut the shiny roof. Ignoring all of you because you're all poo. I want this shiny root to go and suffer you.
and making my way to the base of the shroud root, I began clearing out the guardians, destroying the bug nest before chopping it down. Now, to make my swift exit. I made sure to apply some skill points once I made it out of the well, as I continued on to complete more quests. I eventually found a cellar or dungeon within the shroud, and investigated and crafted up some lockpicks to loot the chest. I picked up a bronze sword, or should I say runes, because it definitely was embedded in my dragon sword, and eventually making my way out of the shroud. Ending of the day with an achievement, that much closer to completing my task and not having to do the ice bucket challenge. Loading in on day 71, I started gathering resources nearby to make a workbench. Oh, this is Roybus. Oh, fantastic, I needed that. I literally just randomly decided to harvest it so I can make a thing to repair my gear. Placing the workbench near the flame altar, I repaired my gear before heading out. And then attempting to climb the mountain to head to my quest destination, I spent way too long running around, finding absolutely no way up. And so, in search of a way up, it had me going way further away from my quest location than I probably needed to, but I somehow had to find a way up. No matter how hard I looked though, I just simply could not find one. And that's when I decided to resort to some cheese. Not some cheddar, but some good old Swiss cheese, where I started making a hole through the mountain in order to get to the top. And that's how it's done the natural causes way. Atop the mountain, I scanned the horizon. Oh, and that's a spire. I haven't actually done that yet. So, no time like the present, so I headed off, making my way to the tower. And upon reaching it, I unlocked the Nomad Highland Stargazer achievement. One more closer to completing my challenge. Completing the puzzles of each floor, I made my way to the top and communed with the flame, activating this region's fast travel. And then gliding from the spire, I headed down towards my quest marker, stopping at a giant rib cage. I decided to mine it to see what it gave, and it gave me fossilized bone. Cool, I need that to upgrade my flame altar. And maybe desecrating an ancient artifact. But I need to upgrade my flame altar. Spending the night harvesting these old bones, collecting what I thought to be enough, I set out again. And as I traveled to my quest location, I stopped by Rattlebleak, collecting the clue for my quest and an arrow striker hammer behind a wall. Checking my map, I realized I had to climb another mountain. I need to go up again. Thanks. So deciding not to run around for hours, I teleported back to the spire, and gliding towards my quest marker, I came across another fell monstrosity. Hack, slash, stab, hack, slash, stab, hack, slash, stab, hack, slash. Hiya! Killing the boss, I looted it, collecting the cauldron and completing the quest. Leaving the site, I found a hole in the ground and curiosity peaking, I jumped in. And digging into the rubble pile, I picked up a dull shark tooth before teleporting home and clearing my inventory. Spending the rest of the day going out and collecting some copper. And after collecting what I thought to be enough, I returned back to base to start smelting before heading out to collect dirt. Cool, there's a whole bunch of dirt. Should be enough to make a little bit of charcoal. Collecting some wood near base, I returned to start making that charcoal, and seeing that it was taking forever to make charcoal. What better way to speed up production than to make more crafting stations? So placing down the extra kilns, I headed back out for more wood. I queued up some chamomile seedlings in my seedbed. Considering I'm drinking chamomile tea as one of my... And after crafting the alchemy station, I placed it in the workshop. Alright, let's go to this Sun Temple. We can get the blacksmith's family along the way. So heading back to the Nomad's Highland Spire, I glided into Fanning Ranch, searching for Oswald's family. Well, that took out most of the rats. That took out the rest. I eventually collected the soul of one Rochelle Anders. Rochelle Anders. The blacksmith's daughter. Was it his sister or his daughter? This is sand. Oh, that's so cool. You make movements in the sand. I love when games have this. We can like actually see your trails in the sand. That is so cool. What is this? More sand. Collecting some sand, I continued exploring. Hi guys, mind if I just come through your camp? And approaching the shroud, I am prevented from moving further due to the deadly shroud. And deadly shroud. Oh no. Okay, so I'm guessing I need to level up my flame altar before I can keep going in this direction. Okay, cool. We go see what we need to level up our flame altar then. So checking what I needed to strengthen my flame, I went to go collect the resources needed. Killing off a mushroom, I gathered the ammonia sac before harvesting the minty mushroom meat. Try seeing that 3 times fast. Honestly, I thought those were gonna be harder. I spoke too soon as attack of the flying jellies. And running for my life, I encountered a big critter. Whoa. That jump charged me like no other, but it stood no chance. This looks like it. Finding some tin ore, I began to harvest up a bunch. 100 ore should be good. Grab a little bit more. I'll keep going until 2 minutes left and then I'll dip out of the shroud. Spending what felt like forever, where I mined up a little over 100 tin ore. It probably won't last me forever, but it will last me enough for now. Now I just had to get out of the shroud to fast travel home. Talking to the farmer, she requested a beehive smoker. And before crafting an oven and baking some flatbread. God damn it. And it's always just something I'm just one short of. I then spent the rest of the day fruitlessly searching for any enemy I could kill that might give me the final ammonia gland I needed to strengthen my flame. But alas, everything appeared to have gone extinct. Just no matter where I searched, in the shroud, out of the shroud, I couldn't find any. Until finally, the very last moment of the day, I found it. The mushroom. Chasing down the archers that thought it was a good idea to attack, as I killed another mushroom to end the night. And then strengthening my flame, I then spawned and assigned Rochelle in the same building as her father. Gotta keep the family together, right? Now that I've completed my shroud power, I'm gonna see if I can now get to the Sun Temple. I returned to my outpost in the desert, gliding into the shroud where I found some sulfur, mining up a bit just in case I would need it in the future. Oh, what is this? Lapis lazuli. Cool, we'll be able to do some Minecraft enchanting now. And on my way to the Sun Temple, I noticed some new flying creatures. Is that a dragon? Uh-oh. I'm not ready to fight dragons. Take you out, dragon. I got feathers? I feel like I should get scales or hide. What is that? Block monstrosity. Continued traveling, I stumbled across an obelisk. I wasn't expecting to find an obelisk. I was going to do a quest to go get a whole bunch of them later, but might as well take them when I find them. And gliding down from the obelisk, I entered a scavenger camp. Hello, scavengers. I am here to be your lord and savior. You guys should totally walk into that bomb. Guess they weren't ready to accept me because they attacked me, so I had to take them out. Grab some of their dried furs. Thank you. I appreciate your guys' donation to the cause. I am the cause. Natural causes. Leaving the camp, I found some scorpions and collecting scales from their corpses. Scales. Nice. And then searching all night for the Sun Temple, I just could not find it. But I knew I was in the right area because a fell sickle-sized health bar popped up. I eventually found brittle bush and I began clearing it out. Zombies? Actual zombies. What the fuck? I don't even know if this is the right place. I made my way through the village, finally finding the Sun Temple as I leveled up. Unlocking the Sun Temple door, I gazed into the shroud below. And jumping into the pit, I battled the fell sickle side. Channel my immortal combat character Scorpion, pulling it to me every time it wanted to teleport away. Hey. I need more space. This is such a silly battle. Looting the chest, I found my new main weapon. The light forged axe. This is gonna be my new weapon. Look at it. And it glows. Yes. The best day ever. I'm here forever. I need to get out of here before I die to the shroud. I made my way to an overlook. No, they've got a jellyfish. My arch nemesis. I tested to see how much health the jelly had before it reached me though, so I fled. And then tracking the beehive smoke, I made my way to the faraway tavern. Clearing it before searching for the quest clue, picking up a music sheet by the riverside. Another music box down. And searching the entire tavern, I open the front door and what do I find? A damn clue. I should probably go do the spire instead. Just so I have a way to get back deep into the desert here. If I ever need to. So on my way to the spire, I charted the Bone Shard excavation camp. Fighting some scorpions, getting poisoned with each hit, I developed a long-term debuff called hemotoxin. Shouldn't be too bad, right? Oh, I was wrong. As you'll see, this illness will hamper my journey moving forward. Reading over the description of hemotoxin, my health regeneration will be halted until I can cure it. Yikes. That's gonna be rough, but no time to dwell. Onto the spire I go. And running through the shroud. The shroud right here, I guess. And eventually finding the cave passage, I followed it, dealing with the scavengers and fell enemies on the other end. I really do hate these archers. They're such cowards, running away. And finally, after dealing with the archers, I made it to the Kindle Waste Spire. Reached the ancient spire in the Kindlewoods. Unlocking the achievement before entering and completing the puzzle on each floor to reach the top. And running through the 3rd floor of the spire. Yo, this room was confusing. I finally made my way up to the top to commune with the flame. Teleporting back to base, I checked my quest log, noticing one mentioned a legendary glider, and that's what I wanted to go for next. Legendary glider. Now, ooh, the sun temple's there as well. Now that could be good. Before I left though, I checked what I needed to craft a cure for the hemotoxin, which was moths and spider glands, checking if I was anywhere close to strengthening my flame. So teleporting back to the Kindle Waste, I glided into the shroud. Let's get on to the big ass dragon skeleton. And making my way across the skeleton, I found another scavenger encampment. Yeah, scavengers taking over this your castle. It's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. So I'm guessing it's going to be in the middle of the building. Entering the castle, I cleared the scavengers, collecting a soul before killing off the mage, and then learning the large backpack recipe after collecting some leather. I continue to clear the building. That's so sneaky. Who hides a button inside a wall? I eventually managed to find all the buttons, even destroying a bookcase to uncover one. Climbing up the tower, fought one of the dragons, and damn did they hurt because it killed me. Is the hemotoxin gone? No, it's not. God damn it. And I've missed the night because I took too long at the other thing. After respawning at the spire, I healed up before gliding back to the Sun Temple. Opening the front door by shooting the buttons, I made my way to the top. And then reaching the top, taking out one final dragon, I looted the chest and got myself the legendary Ghost Glider. Unlocking the achievement as well and testing out my new glider, I went so much further and faster. Yeah, this was a good grab. On my way to complete another chest, I glided all the way to Shorewatch, and landing, I began fighting the scavengers. Yes, finally somewhere to repair my equipment. Oh, in trouble now. And as I was trying to lockpick the chest, one of the scavengers thought it was a good idea to interrupt me. Can you not? I was busy. Good day, sir. I said good day. It is never a good time to interrupt me, especially if I'm trying to get loot. It's about to be nighttime, so I'm gonna head home to deal with this hemotoxin. God, is it annoying. And upgrading my Lightforge axe back at base. 82 damage. Holy let's go. And I went out searching for the moths. Any moths here? Nope, just a bear trap. And spending the night searching for moths, I found none. Returning home, empty-handed, I checked where to find these moths. Found in the Revelwood at night. So if you're ever not sure how to craft something, go look at your peoples. So deciding to track something else, I decided to do Tracing the Footsteps quest. I went back to the Kindle Waste Spire following the quest marker. As I made my way to the hunting party camp, I picked up a lore note telling me to go find the draconic vulture nest. So off I went, seeing a door, I checked what it was. Oh, sorry guys, don't mean to disturb your nap. What is this? Hidden temple. Here, I'll get distracted. And clearing the tomb, I collected a gem of Battle Mania, and wow, it was actually really good. Spend my time looting a hidden temple, only to walk away with an exceptional hand drum. After playing the hand drum for a little while, I left, heading to the vulture's nest, and upon arrival, I leveled up to 29. Killed the vulture and looted the nest before teleporting to the Revelwoods at night, as it was fast approaching. And then spending the night collecting moths, I checked what else I needed. Spider gland. Cool, I've got enough, so I can head home and hope I have the spider glands, I guess. Back to the Revelwoods, I checked the tavern I thought had spiders, but I was wrong. There are no spiders here. I got no clue where to find any spiders. Knowing I was running out of time, I decided to do some quick achievements that I knew existed. The obelisks one. And since I got the new glider, getting around the map would be quite easy. Doing this would also potentially find me any spiders that I still needed for the hemotoxin cure. Starting in the Revelwoods, I made my way to the first obelisk location, and interacting with it, unlocking the Revelwood Secret Keeper achievement. Next, I headed over to the Kinderwaste, and finding the obelisk there, unlocking the Kinderwaste Secret Keeper achievement. 2 zones down as I headed over to Nomad's Highlands. Okay, let's continue making our way towards this ancient spire. Granite, okay. Finding some granite on the mountain, I mined a bit before continuing to climb to the peak, only to be forcefully reminded that extreme cold is not my friend. Impending hypothermia. And then jumping off the mountaintop, I glided over the canyon, landing on the mountain that held the spire. Using the updraft from the spicy soup, I flew up the side of the mountain. That's great. That saved me so much time. That was awesome. And landing at the entrance to the spire, reached the ancient spire in the Albaneve summit. Another achievement unlocked. 3 in one day. I think that's a personal record. And entering the spire, I began clearing its floors. Heading up to the 2nd floor. In theory, at least there isn't any ice here because it's all getting melted by the spicy soup. And using my new glider, I rose through the floor, stopping on every level to push the buttons. Finding a chest, I keep forgetting lockpicks, and after searching for anything that might give me some metal shards, I decided to break the chest. Well, at least I have a lockpick for the next one. Why did it not drop the item? That's stupid. So making my way to the portal. I imagine this was the final level, because this is a really tall one. Yeah. I reached the top of the spire. Now communing with the flame. Warm clothes, torches, and food. It's informing me that I should try to combat the cold. So I crafted a torch and headed over to the nearby door. And after avoiding the rolling balls of death, I looted the chest, collecting a minor arcana sword. Or, more accurately, more runes once I salvage it. Got a point of interest, shall we? Let it dive down a bit so as to not instantly freeze to death. And gliding off the spire, I decided to check out a big structure at the base of the mountain. So what's in this here castle? And landing in the castle, I gathered all the enemies in a group to easily kill them. Looting the bodies, I kept stepping into the deadly shroud. Okay, I need to level up my flame altar before I can do much exploring. Yeah, especially shroud-based exploring. So traveling to the Springland Spire, I headed towards the first shroud route on my list to clear. Guessing it's over there. And spotting the top of an elixir well, I dove in and landed directly at the shroud route. Clearing the enemies before chopping it down, back to the spires I headed for the next shroud route. Reaching it in no time at all, I cleared the enemies and chopped it down as well. Checking my map, I teleported to where it all began, since it was the closest point to my next shroud route target. And gliding over the spicy soup as I landed at the shroud route. Chopping it down after killing all the enemies, I even found an elevated sea urchin fossil for my collection. And heading over to the low meadows, gliding to the shroud route, landing in front of a fell thunderbrute. Hey handsome, how you doing today? And after taking him out, I chopped down the route as well. Gliding from the spire, I noticed a place I hadn't been yet. Oh, it's a moon door. We'll come back to that moon door tonight. Let's just go get this shroud route so long. And entering Fox Chase, I chopped down the shroud root, unlocking the Springland Weeding achievement. Clear the Springlands of all shroud roots. And as it was almost night, I decided to head back to that night sanctum. Well, actually, I'll just wait until it's nighttime. Waiting for nightfall, I sat down and began playing my hand drum. Back into the shroud we go, it's almost nighttime. Approaching the door, I still had a bit of time to wait. Okay, cool. Cool. I'm glad you show up to these videos often. I'm glad you enjoy them. No, nice. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm very happy. This game's been a lot of fun. You should download it. Use my link in the description. Give it a shot for yourself. But remember, no wizards. Not allowed to play as a wizard. I mean, you can if you want. You'll just be mocked relentlessly, like forever, because you know what? Fuck Harry Potter. Can you open the door, please? Okay, cool. Now I can open it. Sorry about these scratches on your door. It wasn't me, I promise. Oh, making my way through the night sanctum, I found another gem forge. Forge weapon gems. Subtract. I don't have any archaic essence. Nor did I bring any of my gems. So with no items to use in the forge, I headed home to end off the day. I think let's go do the iron quest. I started the day heading over to the Kindle Waste. Okay, I forgot to repair my armor again, my weapons again. So diving into the shroud, heading for the quest marker. Diving straight into the shroud like an idiot. Let's go. I landed on and chopped down another shroud root, and fighting another fell thunder root, I then cleared the area of critters before spending most of my day mining iron, even unlocking the achievement. Mole of the Kindle Waste. Mine every valuable resource in the Kindle Waste. Very nice. And after a bit of mining, I leveled up to level 30. Climbing to new heights to reach level 30. And swapping my adventurer helmet for the Hawkeye one I picked up, I continued mining until my pickaxe broke. I then headed home to start smelting the iron. Kinda want better armor, so I kinda want to go do these quests in the bottom left. Like, I'm happy with my weapon right now, but my armor feels a bit lacking. 15 days to go. Might as well go do some quests. I teleported to the Rev Wards, making my way to the treetop Vuka settlement. Hello. Take blessing. Vuka. Gaining a new gem from one of the Vuka, I then spent the entire day searching for way high into the tree. Finally finding the way halfway through day 86. What's up there? How do I get there? And grappling up the ladder, I was then met face to face with another Vuka brawler. There we go. Taking out the brawler, I was free to continue searching the area for the hand drum. And after finally finding it, I tracked another quest in the area. So diving from the top of the tree, I dove straight down, landing in the roots where I found yet another shroud root. Chopping it down, I then checked my map. Okay, anything else in this area that I might as well go do? Might as well go get the daggers for the bard. So making my way back to the spire, I was gliding over the tar pits when I had a thought. What happens if I smash into the flower? And finding out that the flower just bounces you back up, I searched for a bit, eventually finding the daggers embedded into a snapjaw. Well, that was easy. And then tracking Helping Hand's quest. It's gonna be easier just to travel there and fly down. So I headed back to the spire to glide to the quest location, clearing out the pixies before searching the clearing, and then starting the day by searching for any hints to the whereabouts of Aunt Braylon. I finally found the entrance to a hidden temple, and channeling my inner Indiana Jones, I swung over the tar pit. And picking up the lore notes on the other side, I had to head to the second temple where I made my way across the gaps, but fell into the mud, drowning. Alright, let's try that again. So gliding into the temple, I missed the landing on the jump pad and fell into the mud. Again. Alright, for real this time. Made my way into the temple, making my way across the gap by jumping onto the crossbeam. And climbing the rope ladder, I collected a Club of Defiance before collecting the lore note, sending me to a third hidden temple. Exiting the temple, I broke through the wall of a Vuka settlement like the Kool-Aid man. No time to deal with the Vuka, so I just ran through heading to the next temple. Oh shit. Parkour, 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 parkour. And jumping from pillar to pillar across the room, clearing out the pixies. Swinging from the grapple points, I landed on the pillar in the center of the room and collected Aunt Braylon's soul before heading to the chest. So healing up before making my exit, only to immediately fall into the spike trap. Returning to base, I made myself a large backpack, and seeing that there was one achievement, I needed the God of the North armor. I remembered getting a few pieces of pike meat, so I decided to come back to see if I can gather the rest. Chopping down the shroud route, eventually finding the chest piece, I spent the day searching for the God of the North armor set, killing a fell thunderbrute, searching every building, and eventually finding another chest. I cleared the critters, picking up the pants. Continuing my search, I loot a bunch of useless things from chests I found until I found another shroud route, and taking damage from my jump attack, I retreated into a building to heal up. How did you get through the door? Only to get interrupted by a fell thunderbrute. I healed up before fighting it, and then midway through the battle, I jumped out the window on accident. So deciding to just chop down the shroud route while everyone else was distracted, collecting the gauntlet and completing the achievement. Pieces of the past, find all forgotten God of the North armor. So returning home, I then set out to start ridding the riverwoods of all the shroud routes. Entering an elixir well near my base. Shroud route, let's go. This should be easy. Pretty sure I'm fairly overleveled for this one at this point. I made my way to the shroud route, clearing the enemies. The noise, the massacre, the carnage, the axe. Before chopping it down, exiting the well before checking my map. Again, right near my base. So heading back to base, I crafted some iron tools, checking to see what was needed to make a new shield. I then crafted myself a nice large backpack, and then began heading towards the other elixir well. Collecting the gem of hopeful embers from a wraith, I entered, eventually reaching the shroud route. What the fuck are you? This giant... I encountered and killed the giant slug thing guarding it, getting some giant critter scales for my reward. Chopping down the route, I then traveled over to the Black Mire Spire. And gliding from the spire, I swooped into a cave, headed for the shroud route. Arriving quickly, I chopped it down before returning to the spire to do the same thing at another one. Gliding through this cave, I encountered another giant slug, who I decided to call Sluggy, and I took it out with its baby critters and the wraith caretakers. Kinda weird it's not shrouded here. Like the shroud route's right there. And chopping down the route, I eventually headed to the low meadows. And gliding into the elixir wells, I headed for the route. And killing the fell thunderbrute god, I cleared a few plants before chopping down the route. Let's just do the quest. I got the well. So this time I headed to the Nomad's Highland, gliding into a well as I made a detour. And entering the moon door, I spent the night avoiding the traps, only to realize yet again, forgot lockpicks, so I couldn't get any loot. How does the loot goblin do this? I'm disgraceful. Shame on me, shame on my family, shame on my cow. So I just made my exit and headed home for the rest of the day. Starting out on day 91, I headed over to the Kinderways, gliding towards my quest marker as I dove down into the shroud, landing at the entrance of the lair. Making my way through the lair, I found the route right at the end, and fighting the critters guarding the route, I died to the explosive ones. Oh, those bugs do so much damage. They like blast you when you die, and it hurts, and it sours on the man. Respawning, I jumped off and started gliding again, only to realize I forgot to let my stamina regen, so I fell to my death. Returning to base, I made myself a cup of tea, eating, drinking, refilling my health, stamina, and rested buff, and then I headed back out to finish that shroud route. Landing in the shroud, I collected some resources. Brittle shroud flakes, I need those. And doubling back, I harvested a bunch of the flakes before moving on to the low tide encampment. Clearing out the fell before moving on to the nearby shroud route. And slamming my axe into the flowers as I reached level 31 before chopping down the shroud route. Looting the chest, I collected the shroud weaver, inadvertently completing a quest. Nice! Heading to the next question mark, I realized it was a night sanctum, so I spent the rest of the night making my way through it. And making it to the end of the sanctum, I located the gem forge. I missed a button or two along the way, so searching for and finding the rest of the buttons, I used a gem forge to insert the gem of bleeding into my light forged axe. Exiting the sanctum, I spotted a jellyfish.
Gotta try and kill you. Jesus.
Misjudging the height, I took a lot of fall damage. So retreating as to not die, I healed up. Fighting off some fells, I collected a legendary gem of focused light. And knowing I was going to need some better armor, remembering something I read about how Enshrouded works is that the loot you get from chests is usually random, but it's set based on a loot pool. And knowing I got pretty good stuff from the Sun Temple, albeit for Wizard or Ranger, I decided to make my way back to the Sun Temple to see if I could start looting it over and over again. Would I get good stuff? But I wasn't actually sure. So clearing the Sun Temple's entrance of scavengers, I shot all the buttons and entered. And having spent too long searching for the buttons, I said screw it and just climbed the mountain to glide my way to the top of the temple. And something else I figured out, that since loot respawned when you log in, if you build a base where you're going to farm or whatever, you get a quick respawn area.
Oh wait, this is a ghost glider. Where's the chest though?
So leaving the Sun Temple, I dropped down the backside of this cliff and found a loot chest. And this is where the RNG loot farming began. Loot, relog, dive, loot, relog, dive, loot. You get the point. This is how you can reset chests. Now, I just need to get lucky.
It has taken way too long, but finally, I have the armor I so desperately wanted. The Radiant Paladin armor set. Now I just need a better shield.
With all my new loot, I headed out to the summit only to quickly note back to base after being faced with impending hypothermia. So this is where I realized I needed something to keep me warm. So tracking the quest for yaks, I headed out to the Springlands to start collecting the ingredients for the bait.
The reason I'm working on doing this whole yak food thing, because I need it for padding so that I don't freeze in the cold.
And as I waited for the different ingredients to cook up, I collected my stock of runes from the chest farming site, upgrading all my weapons upon returning back to base, and crafting the yak bait.
Time to find the yak herd.
So I set out to the mountains.
These are like new types of scavengers.
And fighting off the new enemies as I unlocked a new set of armor.
Thaumaturge. That looks sick.
Before gliding directly into what I didn't realize was deadly shroud. So gliding down to the Fairfield goat farm, I explored it, picking up some silver ore from inside. I attempted to tame some goats with the yak food.
I think these aren't yaks. Yeah, those aren't yaks, they're goats.
And eventually finding a cave, I checked it out.
What's in here? Hi, gentlemen. Oh my god. How does he have a flamethrower? Jesus, those guys hurt. Brazen bull. Oh my god, I spent all my time trying to get that armor and this is better.
So running up the mountain, I found a yak, but it was being attacked by a dragon bird thing.
You get away from that yak, you bastard.
And taking out the vulture, I proceeded to finish taming up the yak.
Was a good little yak. I pick up the yak. Camellia Lake Marble Quarry.
And searching around the quarry for a moment, I already had the resources there, so I was back to the yak hunt.
Thing is, Murphy's Law, now that I'm like looking for yaks, I'm never gonna find a yak.
You know what? Let's go do the actual yak quest. So teleporting to the spire, I glided down towards the quest marker, finding and mining some amethyst, unlocking the Mole of Albany Summit achievement.
Mine every valuable material on the Albany Summit. Nice. What is this? Coal. I'm going to need this to make the frost armor. Which I know I spent all the time trying to get this Radiant Paladin armor, but I know, I can't seem to go in the cold if not. And if I'm gonna fight the final boss, I don't know how I'm gonna do it alone.
So gliding from the coal deposit, I entered the house nearby, and killing and looting the spiders, I collected 2 glands.
No, I need 3 more.
And searching for any straggler spiders, there were nothing left.
I'm guessing I'm not curing the hemotoxin today. I thought I was.
I left the house and continued heading to complete the yak quest. Level up. And starting the day, I used an experience scroll because I needed room in my inventory. Mining some iron, I entered a nearby camp.
Oh,
Hi. And it was a giant cyclops. Well, I guess I gotta take you down. And killing the cyclops, I collected his head as my trophy. I have such a nice farmer. Tells me where to find yaks, instead finds a cyclops. Oh wait, look over there. They do exist. Yak. Finally, I had found the yaks. Proceeding to tame a breeding pair before slaughtering the rest, unlocking the cold weather gear recipes once collecting their wool. Returning home, I accepted the hunter's next quest. Need to get her the loom to get the spinning wheel. So off I went to the Kindleway searching for the loom. Of course I got distracted, but only slightly as I saw a giant door. Kindleway bone key. I'm guessing that's another one of those like hollowed halls. Oh, that's a interesting looking little civilization over there. And entering the settlement, I began searching, finding the loom inside the weaver's cottage. This game has so much that I still haven't had a chance to explore, but I'm just not getting the chance to. I'm on such a time crunch. And heading to the cave as I cleared out the spiders. Not a single gland. Not gonna lie, this hemotoxin's a little obnoxious. Returning home, I placed down the loom before queuing bronze bars to smelt, making a little area for my yaks to smelt as I headed back to get more honey. Crafting goat bait once I returned, heading out, I stopped back by the cinder vault taming a common goat, as I needed to get myself some frizzy milk. Go get some mountain goats, shall we? Just so I get both of them, so I don't know which ones I need. And starting the day off by milking my goats. Give me milk, Mr. Goaty. Where's your friend? There's your friend. Give me milk. I wanted to make the area a little bit cleaner, so I tried clearing out the lamppost only to accidentally kill one of my goats. Oops. Heading back over to the summit spire while I was waiting for my goats to make their milk, I wanted to get an upgrade for my blacksmith. Heading up the mountain right into the freezing cold. Oh, I got 2 minutes. In and out. Gotta be quick. As I headed towards my quest marker, gliding off of the mountain. I need to somehow get around the mountain. I need a secret tunnel. And thinking I had just found one, but it was turned out to just be a snow tiger cave. So traveling through the mountain pass. This potentially looks like a way through. It turned out to not be, so I just teleported back to the spire. And landing on the mountain, I noticed my warmth timer was getting low. Fuck it. I'm gonna die anyway. YOLO! Okay, that killed you so quickly. And as I was dying to the hypothermia over the shroud, I headed back to base. Checking if I had all I needed for beef stew. I didn't quite yet, but I did make myself a wrap. Go get saffron. So heading back to the Kindlewest, I spent the rest of the day searching for the resources needed to strengthen my flame. And gathering brittle shroud flakes, saffron and grapple plants. I found and killed my first jellyfish. Checking what it dropped was just some shroud gelatin before continuing to gather resources. Entering abandoned village, I cleared it of enemies, beginning the hunt for shroud vulture talons. Okay. I think it's everything except for the saffron. Let's see what I still need. And heading home, I checked what I needed. Crafting soil, so I planted some saffron seeds before milking my goat. Yes, a frizzy goat milk. And proceeding to use it to make myself some beef stew before heading out to collect some lapis. After mining a bunch, I headed to the summit spire, gliding up the mountain pass to get to the forge. And now that I had the beef stew, I was not immediately freezing to death. And needing resources to craft best frost-resistant food, spent the morning searching for eggs in one of the scavenger camps. Searching all over the Kindleways for ingredients, even hopping into what I could only assume was a vulture's nest. But finding no eggs, I teleported to the summit spire, deciding to just brave the elements with what I had as I headed towards the forge. Okay, cool, got a bunch of dirt so I can make flame altars along the way. And placing down a flame altar, I tried to warm up, but my flame was too weak. Strengthen the flame to gain frost protection in bases. Gains frost protection in bases level 8, fuck. And my plane does not work. So suffering from hypothermia. Well, at least my food will be reset. I died and respawned at the spire. Eating the beef stew this time, I glided down the mountain. 7 minutes, let's go. And running up the mountain trails, I reached Gateway Outpost Elba. killing off the scavengers I came across. Reading the lore note, I kept moving forward, eventually making my way to the Forge of Obsidia. Placing down a flame altar just outside as I teleported to the spire to reset my timer. Returning to the forge as I entered.
Oh, hi guys. Is it nice and warm in here yet? Scavenger tyrant. What? Oh, hi.
And fighting the tyrant, avoiding stepping on the grates as I killed him and looted the bellows.
I'm gonna quickly head home, make this forge.
And back at base, I crafted and placed down the blast furnace, queuing up steel ingots to be able to craft. And that's when the sun began to rise to signal day 101. I had failed in my challenge. Due to lack of poor planning of having not played the game before, I was not able to achieve 100% completion by day 100. I had 33 out of 45 achievements, but I knew there was one final boss I still wanted to fight. So I decided to just do some preparation I needed in order to survive the snow, that I could go and give us one final fight. And I'm not going to record any of the prep I do, and then I'll record when the fight starts.
I have spent way too much time making a full set of new armor, making thing, and let's go see if I can find how to get to this wagon.
Reaching Forge of Obsidia, I began climbing the mountain, searching for the dragon. Traveling past Outpost Bora,
Okay, deadly shroud, noted.
and crossing a bridge as I found myself at Evergreen Keep, clearing it of scavengers.
You'd think that would warm me up, but it doesn't. Level 34!
And leveling up after killing the flamethrower, taking out another tyrant as I cleared the keep, climbing higher and higher up the mountainside.
Oh, another cyclops. I don't really want to fight you, nor do I need to.
I avoided fighting the Cyclops, which, as you will learn later, I should have just taken it out now, and finally reaching Howling Peak as I read the clue left on the skeleton.
Parry incoming projectiles or use stun arrows to force the dragon down.
So this was it. This must be the way to fight the final boss of the game. So gliding over the spicy soup as I landed on the ring in the center.
Where's this here dragon?
So using the updrops from the lava, I searched for the dragon, but it just wasn't here.
I think I have to fight the cyclops first before the dragon will spawn.
So placing a flame altar near Mr. Skeleton, I reset my cold timer at the spire, and even though I made it to the top of the mountain before I could fight the dragon, however there was one more enemy I had to take out. In order to get to that enemy, had me fighting through hordes of fel, taking them all out one by one, making sure to cull their forces back with the might of my light forged axe. With them clear though, I could move deep into the shroud lair, chopping down the shroud route after clearing the fel, gliding over to the next route. I missed the updraft as I fell into the lava, being consumed by the shroud. Respawning, I re-entered the elixir well,
Oh shit, where did you come from?
and killing the fell thunderbrute as I headed to the shroud route, killing its critter vanguard before chopping it down.
What's up, ogre? It's all ogre now! You're going down! It's all ogre now! Oh shit, he hurts.
Battling the Cyclops, he was big and slow, but man did he hit hard. Eventually managing to kill him as I chopped down the shroud route. I got home where I was able to strengthen my flame as I returned to base. It was now that I had unlocked tracking the quest of killing the dragon. But before I could do so, I had to first light 8 balefires. So traveling to the summit, I flew around lighting one after the other until finally,
And the final balefire. Activate. The dragon rises. Challenge the beast. On Howling Peaks.
so teleporting back to my altar at the peak, I saw it.
I don't know about the balefire. Oh, that's a big dragon. I need to go repair my arm.
repair my weapon. I am going in with a full set of Mountain's Shadow armor that I'd crafted. I've got my light forged axe. I've put a gem into my hammer, a gem into my little daggers, and a gem into my bow. Apparently I have obsidian arrows. Didn't even know I had obsidian arrows. Let's go and fight a dragon. Feeling ready, I return to the peak as I landing on the center ring. Alright, dragon. This is it. It's just you and me. And God, I wish it wasn't just me. Learning the mechanics, I kept dying. This is all the food I have. After this, I'm done. My only attempts. And round 3 died to the beam. How do you get out of that? What are you meant to do about that? Just I'm running out of health potions. I got a couple left. Rereading the clue, it mentioned parry or stun arrows. So I went back for round 4 parrying one of the dragon's fireballs. Oh, okay. Oh, that's a little bit of stun. But only to get pushed off by its flapping of its wings. And time after time, I tried to take out this damn lizard. Either getting stuck in its laser beam of a flame breath or falling into the lava as I just had no chance. Okay, what's up, dragon? F you! Parrying its giant meatball back at it, I started avoiding its attack until it did the projectile launch. Gliding to save my skin. Woohoo! The dragon's coming! I avoided becoming lunch for lizard boy, saving myself from the lava after getting pushed off. I landed directly in the line of his fire breath, and more attempts ended in the same way. Me dying. I'm getting real sick of this dragon. I got 7 more attempts left, and I'm out of food. And at that point, you know what? I admit defeat to the dragon. I need to get some friends if I can't do this. And even when I do get some decent carries going, I died shortly after. Alright, baby, it's showtime! Back for more, I parried one of the projectiles before dodging and weaving around its attack, only to fail to parry the second volley as I died again. See, like, if you're a wizard or a mage, you can just sit here and pew at him, whereas I gotta just keep running, parrying around of projectiles as they miss the dragon. It flew over and how does it miss? And that's it. I had had enough. I tried to fight this dragon, but as a melee, doing this solo, it's not very easy. And I was getting insanely frustrated. We had already gotten past day 100, and this is where I'll tell you guys a secret. I already went past day 100 back on day 93 when I was farming for that armor. So I knew I'd failed this challenge. But I wanted to try and give you guys the ending of killing this dragon. I need to get some friends. So if you think you can kill the dragon, make sure to get Enshrouded for yourself now using the link in my description. The game is really a ton of fun, and I'm for sure I'm going to be playing this a whole lot more. Maybe I could even give wizards a try. Let's go get dunked in some water.